All right, what is up, everybody? We are live. This is the RP Ginger here, coming at you with session 11 of March of Annihilation, called The Search for Dungrunglung. That is going to be a name that I'm going to have a fun time saying for most of the session, but that is okay. Hopefully this is streaming to anyone who is watching without issues. Lately, I have upgraded my internet service provider, and with that upgrade, not only did my prices hike up, but apparently my internet has become somehow worse. So while I'm trying to figure out what is going on with that, some of the videos have been basically lost. It's like skipping forward multiple seconds at a time. So I apologize for anyone who is trying to follow these videos in the community, and hopefully I will figure it out shortly. We got some returning faces, some new players into the community, and I'm really happy to see more people jumping in. So what I'm going to get them to do is introduce themselves, say who they are, who they're playing. If you have a YouTube channel or anything that you want to plug, feel free to do so, and then we'll jump into the game. We're going to go in this order: Brendan, Thomas, Craig, and then Matt. So go ahead, Brendan, say hello, say who you're playing, and we'll get into it after that.
All right. Hi, everyone. Brandon. I'm going to be playing Dran Tarug, a half-orc cleric of the grave. I don't have any associated YouTube channels or anything like that, so and my first game. So see how it goes.
Go ahead, Tom.
All right, this will be my second game. I'm playing a rogue, CL Swashbuckler and Kira, and yeah, pretty much it.
Cool. Go ahead, Craig.
All right. My name is Craig. I'm playing Gar. He's a flying feral variant tiefling monk. So it's interesting.
Last but not least.
All right. I am Matthew, and I will be playing Sienna Renwood, the wizard. And the only thing I have to plug is come watch us play D&D on the RP Ginger, because that's where all the cool nerds hang out.
True story. A lot of cool nerds definitely hang out here. So to give you guys the backdrop of this session, session 11, the search for Dungrunglung, the Emerald Enclave, a small force that it be in Nyanzaru, has been going out into the jungle and looking for a rare plant called the golden gutweed. And this plant has mutated as the death curse has come along. And basically people have discovered that if you boil it down and turn it into its most refined status, that it can actually slow down the withering effects of a death curse. So it's become extremely valuable. The Emerald Enclave, a druid type of faction, have been going out and discovering that it's been harder and harder to find. And in a previous adventure, the party was in the Morbid Mires, where they discovered that they couldn't really find any of this golden gutweed. And they came across an injured band of Emerald Enclaves, and they told them that the Grung, which are these frog-like, notoriously violent and mean, cruel entities, have been hoarding this golden gutweed and bringing it back to their shrine. So the Emerald Enclave has put out a bounty for anyone that is brave enough to go find this hidden shrine where the Grungs locate themselves at, and bring back any source of golden gutweed, or figure out why the Grung are hoarding it for themselves. You've hired, for the first time actually in the community, a druid by the name of Kawasha. And Kawasha, let me actually pull him up here and give you a brief little lowdown on what he looks like. Is a dark-skinned man with these green and golden trimmed robes that he wears. He has a quarterstaff that literally looks much like a tree branch, and at the top of the staff, it's reinforced in vines and has spikes on the top of it. His hairline is receded on the top, and around the kind of ears and back of his head are these thick, nappy dreads, and he has a big kind of goatee and an old, wrinkled-looking man with these kind of eyes that stare through you. And Kawasha actually happens to come with a companion that he names Kupalu. And Kupalu is a veggie pygmy, essentially a veggie folk. And he calls Kupalu just for short, weed, which basically is what Koopaloo translates into in Chalton, the walking weed. He just says, "Hey, weed, get over here." And Koopaloo doesn't really speak back. They kind of have this semi-intricate, but not intricate at all, sign language in which they communicate through. And Quasha has agreed to guide you guys to Dungrunglung. There we go. I messed it up already. And you've been riding on canoe that he actually has provided for you guys now for several days. Now, as you enter the jungle, some of you new to this, some of you borderlining on veterans, you find that it's as if death itself is hungering for your flesh. As every day you have spent in this jungle, you have just been attacked by hordes upon hordes of living dead. Never have you seen a presence like this before, where literally they're just coming out of the canopy and the tree lines and just swarming you guys each and every day. Now, what I'll need you guys to do as you're traveling down this river, fighting off swarms of undead, is tell me what skill that you're proficient in that you're going to use to basically combat this. And multiple days are kind of montaging by as we see you all fight for your life. Now, with this current horde, the DC is incredibly high. And if you fail it, you will gain a point of exhaustion. But we're going to add a variant rule here where you can expend a hit point or a resource, such as a spell slot or key point, to lower the DC. The DC right now, as it stands, is 25. For each resource or hit point that you spend, you can lower it. You're allowed to roll your skill first. And this is essentially to give off the illusion or the simulation that you are fighting each and every day through this horrible, hot, muggy jungle. So 3 days have passed without rest, without the ceasing attack of the undead. We're going to go with Sienna first. What skill are you proficient in, and how are you using it to aid your companions in this war that you found yourself now in the jungle?
Sienna will use her Arcana and arcane knowledge to properly understand like what types of magic and undead are being hurled at them, and what proper spells she and perhaps her druid guide should be using to help counter them.
All right, go ahead and make that check. And remember, you roll first. The DC is 25, and then after you roll, you can decide how many hit points or resources you're going to spend to either make the check or just take the point of exhaustion.
All right. 25.
Nice. Apparently, you're a god among men and women. As you make the DC, you know that there's zombies, ghouls, ghast, undead dinosaurs, undead creatures, literally all just coming from the forest. But you're able with your party to basically hold them off. Casting spells, flame is a big component in this from warding them, and you make the first save. Next, Gar. What are you doing?
Gar will be using his extreme mobility, his agility to just duck and weave, dodge, strike, get out of the line of fire, and then move back in real quick, and just taking a head off this zombie and then knocking this zombie to the ground. And so I'll be using acrobatics.
All right, you know the drill now.
22.
22. So you can elect to fail this or burn some resources to actually basically fight your way through at this point.
And yeah, I think I'll go ahead and burn 3 HP.
All right. So the fight is never relenting. And as we see Gar flying around, kicking, punching, and throwing zombies around, you see that a ghoul at one point gets his long claws and rakes it down his back. Gar yells out in pain, quickly turning around and literally like karate chopping the zombie's head off. But still, the strike has been done. Next, we're going to go with Akira. What skill do you use?
I'm guessing the most beneficial to my player and stuff would be the acrobatic skill and footwork feat.
All right.
What was
the The DC is
What was
currently
the
25.
all right? What was the hit points to lower it down? Like, is there like can
One
I
for
only do
one.
one at a time?
1 for 1.
I-
Up, you can lower it to a minimum of the DC 10. So if you roll under 10, you're basically screwed. But as long as you roll over 10, you can just 1 for 1 take a point of HP to lower the DC.
All right. You set up to 10. Let me see. I got a 14.
So you can choose to spend 11 hit points to basically take damage and fight your way through this, or you can take a point of exhaustion.
Like 11 hit points or 1 point of exhaustion.
Yes, sir.
I guess I'll take 1 point of exhaustion.
All right. Mark that on your character sheet. All ability checks from this point forward will probably be at disadvantage. I'm going to mark that down to remind myself too, just because I am bad at remembering exhaustion. All right. And then last but not least, as we see Akira fighting the sea of undead zombies piling through on this small canoe, he's doing everything that he can to swashbuckle his way out of it, but a swashbuckler strives at 1v1 combat, and when it's 10, 12 zombies piling on him, or her, sorry, you see that a couple bite into her shoulder, or not necessarily bite, but tire her out after the many days. Last but not least, Dren Tarug.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You was right the first time it was him.
Yeah. Oh, is it him? Okay, my bad. Dren Tarug, how are you navigating this?
Being a cleric of Kelemvor, I'm going to use my religion and basically channel my divine powers and any knowledge I can and pray and focus and just try and drive them back.
Sick.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to work.
What's your roll, my friend?
That is a 9.
9.
No.
So you, my friend, are enjoying a point of exhaustion too. And what we're going to say to theme this is obviously like a cleric has the ability to turn dead, but you're literally having to focus pretty much all of your willpower into doing this at all times, just to make sure that you guys aren't constantly overswarmed by this horde of undead. And you can't really figure it out. Those of you that have been in the jungle before, it's never quite been this bad. It's as if a storm has just swelled the undead into anger and hunger, and this storm seems to be centered on you guys now. You just see it through the forest, but nonetheless, with 2 points of exhaustion and a couple points of HP damage onto the party, you guys are basically making camp for your first night. And then let me just mark this down so I don't forget. Okay. And in my game, for those of you that are new, when you get a long rest, you, for one, don't get a full heal. You have to spend your hit points. And rarely do you actually get a long rest. So right now, as you're in the jungle and you're going to sleep through the night, you have to stay so alert that you can't actually basically sleep or you'll be overrun. So there's points when you guys are sitting down taking a break, but at all times there has to be at least 2 or 3 people manning the perimeter to fight back. So when I say you make camp, you just basically station yourselves to prepare for the next onslaught that is the day that you guys have been going through. Now, as you find yourself in the middle of the night, basically beached along this swampy river now, as you get closer and closer to the morbid mires where the Dungrunglung is supposed to be located, Kawasha assures you that he can find the way. He apologizes that it's been such a dangerous route. And then you hear something basically slithering, or not slithering, but making its way sloppily through the tree lines. And you see Koopaloo bursting forth. And he kind of just comes up to, let's see who he comes up to. It's actually Dren that he comes up to. And he comes walking up this veggie-like 3-foot-tall entity and gets in front of you with his big bulgy eyes and says, "Koopaloo, Koopaloo." And he drops what looks like this strange bush of leaves right in front of you.
I'll bend down and kind of like get on one knee and look at him and just, well, what do you got there, little guy? What is this?
Kupalu. And then he starts to do hand gestures to you, which you don't really make sense of. But Kawasha looks over to you and says, "It appears that Kupalu has found you manga leaves." And he would tell you that manga leaves can be dissolved in liquid or heat and then ingested. And then a creature that ingests these basically regains 1 hit point. A small kind of healing thing. If you ingest more than 5 leaves worth of ointment, though, or liquid, you basically risk falling unconscious. So Kawasha would say, "This is a temporary fix, but it might be able to help your wounded friend."
Thank you very much, Kupalu. And he'll gather up the pile of leaves and try to start making kind of a tea, I guess you make out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'll
go-
try and make that up.
Go ahead and give me a survival check, and we'll see how much you actually are able to make from the manga leaves.
Can Sienna use the aid action with her herbalist kit to help him?
Yes, definitely. Roll at advantage.
All right. Thank you. That puts it at an 18.
18. You are able to basically harvest every leaf that you have. So you now have 5 ounces or 5 servings of manga leaf. And again, if you drink one of these, you basically regain 1 hit point. If you drink more than 5 in a single day, though, you have to con save or fall unconscious. So mark that down. And 5 healing points basically is now gifted to you from Kupalu. As you thank him, he just bows, basically putting his hands together and bows, "Kupalu," and then hobbles off into the forest line to go fight some undead that you hear scurrying around the perimeter. Gar, as you are leaned against a tree, resting for probably an hour. This is all you get, is literally an hour to shut your eyes. You don't get rest because you hear the never relenting scurrying and scraping of the undead horde that now surrounds all of you. The constant smell of stinking death has been all around you basically since you went into the jungle. You have an object, though, that is maybe not extremely valuable, but has meaning to you. What is this object?
Probably the broken hilt of a small dagger. Just a small little blade. The hilt with the blade just gone. And it's one of the first things that Thea ever gave to Gar back when they first met and were first constantly bickering and sparring and fighting each other. And this knife just broke against a rock as had dodged out of one of Thea's random crazy thrusts. And it's something he's kept with him since then.
And it's something that, Gar, you reach for anytime that you really need to, like, center yourself, remind yourself why you're here. And as you are in one of those needs, you reach down, but you hear a whisper in your ear, but not just one side of your ear, but basically your entire entity, your entire surroundings. And you hear shaka shaka waka waka, shaka shaka. You reach down to where your broken dagger normally is, and it's gone. Give me a perception check.
9.
9. You hear laughter that just kind of surrounds you. It's this haunting, almost like whisper laugh. And you look on a tree, and at the very last second, you see a chewinga with a white mask, these little tiny nature spirits. And this white mask actually looks like one of like a monkey that has its mouth completely like open in a circular fashion, like it's just been completely surprised. And you see it dancing there with the hilt of your broken dagger, dancing and laughing. And then it vanishes into the tree lines.
Gar will look around, panicked almost for just a second, split second. And he's like, if there's one, there's usually more. And so he'll he knows not to chase them because that won't get anywhere. And so he just starts mumbling homage to this little Chewinga. And he's like, thank you for blessing us with your presence again, nature spirit. I beg of you, please return that which is priceless to me.
Kawasha overhears this, and he says, Gar, you have been visited by a Chewinga. Is that so?
This would not be my first or even second encounter with a Chewinga.
They seem to follow me quite often. Check your pack. Normally they will leave a small gift. It is good that you are not angered by these spirits. Often, it is a test. They will reward you if you are patient.
I will do so.
You go and check your pack, and as you give me an investigation check.
Wish I'd rolled that on the other one. 19.
Yeah, you're especially going to be sad about it because as you reach in your pack where the dagger normally is, you find that it's just basically some chewed up nutshells. Like someone ate some sunflower seeds and spit it out in your bag. And you hear that haunting kind of laughter again. You look around where those little Chewingas, you know not to be angry at them, but you can't help but feel like this is like a prank that's maybe too far. But you don't see any of them. They seem to just vanish into the night. You now wake up. Actually, none of you sleep, but you can spend your hit dice if you want, anyone that needs to basically heal up. You don't lose your point of exhaustion, unfortunately, and you basically begin the second leg of this journey. Does anyone want to do or say anything between yourselves as Kwasha basically stamps out the fire and says, I know it's been tough, my friends, but not long now before we make it to Dungrunglung.
Sienna will be been up fairly early, having gotten a little sleep during this particular night, and then is with her large journal out studying the veg pygmy, writing down notes about it, saying, I've seen your kind before, not so long ago, a whole tribe of them.
It looks at you and kind of cocks its head. Kupalu?
Dang. If only I had that spell prepared. Anyway. And then, oh yeah, Chris hasn't got the grace of meeting Rig yet. And then the large, dark red-eyed raven flops down onto Sienna's shoulder and with a loud screech goes, Gah! More salad, people! Yum, 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 yum! Gah!
And this Koopaloo, this veggie pygmy, he literally looks like this basically walking vine, and on the top of his head is like the root of a carrot stem, it almost looks like. So this like little pom-pom on his head, and he kind of looks up at the bird, reaches out to poke it, and just curiosity, Koopaloo, Koopaloo. And we'll try to like actually grab at this raven, I think you said.
Rig bites it.
He just kind of shockingly, Koopaloo, as if he's been betrayed. And
then Sienna will like take her hat off and like spat at the bird with it, like shooing him off to a branch. She'll go, I apologize for my little friend. He can be taciturn at best.
Kawasha says, no need to apologize. Koopaloo is often a little too curious for his own good. A hard lesson, Weed. And with that, anybody else want to do anything before you set sail, or not set sail, but set out for the last leg of this entry into the jungle?
Who was it that had lost some HP?
Gar is down 3.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
I can't remember your name.
Akira?
Yeah, that's it, Akira. Did Akira lose anything, HP wise? Or no, you gained exhaustion.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you a little bit of the manga leaves, right? The manga leaf tea.
Yep.
I'll give you 2 points of that to kind of recover some of that HP.
And that's to Gar, I'm assuming?
Yeah, to Gar.
All right. So you're offered this warm, murky tea. Doesn't smell the nicest.
Gar chugs it down as fast as he can so he tastes it as little as possible.
Dran will go, we're doing Kellenvor's work. We'll get through this together. We'll stay strong.
Quasha agrees. And we are doing the work of just men, eliminating the undead scourge that plagues this jungle. Everyone that we kill, we're one step closer to cleansing this land. Be strong, my friends. And he kind of turns his coat and begins to walk now, telling you that the canoe will no longer need. Now, unfortunately, you're far enough away where we need to go through another one of those checks to get to the encampment. So again, a skill check, DC 25, as you now find yourself in the morbid mires, sludging your way through this waist-high muck that gurgles and bubbles and stinks of just rot. You see these cobweb-like vines that drain or hang and basically curtain off entire segments of your wall. It's almost as if you've walked into a maze. Some of these thick cobwebby vines that dangle down into the murky swamplands that you find yourself in give you the sense of just never really knowing where you are. It all looks the same, but Quasha leads you. And as you do, undead zombie corpses of rotted flesh where half of their faces rotted off will bounce out of the muck and try to grab you guys. You'll see ghouls and gas and just everything that is no longer living coming after you guys still. Anyone want to jump forth and say how they're tackling this next leg?
If I can I use Arcana again? Or do I have to use a different skill?
Yeah, I'll let you use it. I don't even care. The DC is so high that you guys might as well use your best thing.
All right. 23.
23. All right. You know what you got to do.
Sienna will sacrifice 2 HP.
All right. So there is 1 point when maybe casting a... Actually, do you want to describe it? How do you take the 2 hit points?
Guess. Sienna is sitting there using, meditations and spells to help guide their way through, cantrip here or cantrip there, blasting anything that gets too close. And as 2 zombies jump out of a mud pool at her feet, she blasts both of them, but then a third one pops up right behind her and gives a good scratch across her leg before one of the companions is able to drop a weapon on its head or something.
Absolutely. Who wants to jump forth next?
Dran will go ahead. I'll kind of keep an eye on my companions and try and patch them up a little bit as we go, and just watch for any kind of wounds that I can kind of patch as we go. And I'm going to try a medicine check, if you'll allow it.
Yep, absolutely. That's cool.
So that is an 11.
So that's going to be a hefty toll. Basically, you will need to sacrifice 14 either HP or a combination of HP spell slots. A level 1 spell slot will count as 1. A level 2 will count as 2.
I'll drop... man. It's a hefty toll, but I don't really... What happens at a second tier of exhaustion?
Speed halved, I believe.
I can't go for that.
Let me just double check for you. It's only a couple seconds for me to pull it up. Conditions. I never remember. Even though I've played with so much exhaustion in this game, I always temporarily forget. Exhaustion level 2, speed halved, yes.
Okay. I'll burn 1 level 1 spell and the rest out of HP. So that would be 13 HP off?
Yes, 13. And you want to describe what that looks like? As obviously this is a trying excursion.
So I'll basically be kind of going back and forth and kind of ignoring wounds to myself, kind of helping everyone else, trying to patch them up, wrap them up. I'll even cast a couple of healing spells here and there, just trying to keep everyone going and sustained through it all. Really just sacrificing myself for everyone else.
All right. Who wants to jump up next? We got Akira or Gar?
I can go ahead and go. Let's see. You said 25 in this.
Yep.
All right. See what I get. I got 20.
And is that at disadvantage due to your exhaustion?
Yes.
All right, 20. Then you have to sacrifice 5 HP to basically fight this off.
5 XP.
Or you can take another point of exhaustion, up to you.
7. Let's go ahead and take the XP.
Yeah. All right.
7.
Do you want to describe what it looks like as like zombies are gnawing at you?
Yeah, they're coming from everywhere, and I'm just hacking and slashing and cutting, piercing, and just seems like I ain't getting nowhere. The more I hack and slash, the more they bite me on my arms and my back, and it's just bad.
Yeah, it's an epic fight montage as you guys are just like sludging through the swamplands, and everyone is just profusely sweating. Gore and blood is splattered as your weapons are just completely coated in it. Exhaustion comes from casting spells and resources all day long. Gar, you're the last one that has to get through this horrible slog.
Gar's going to keep up his aerial acrobatics, and hopefully that keeps him not too terribly. Nat 20.
And what does that give you for your modifier? Is that a pass?
Yeah.
Nice.
Highest I can roll is a 27 acrobatics.
Nice. So yeah, you whip some ass on this day. Maybe the resolve that the Chewinga stolen your dagger fuels you, and you are just like, and then the fact that you don't have to walk through the swamp, you actually fly above it. You're just like aerial grabbing zombies by their heads, lifting them up into the ground, and then dropping them like skewers onto broken, jagged branches, coming down and clawing off heads. You look pretty badass on this day. All right. It's at this day that we find ourselves, or this night now again, Kawasha assures you that by the next day we should have some clues as to where the Grung are hiding. And we're going to go through a similar thing, but this time for Dran Turug. Turug. I already forget it. Sorry.
Let's go by Dran. It's fine.
Dran, what token or medallion or something do you hold valuable as you basically need to calm yourself through this night? You hear the undead swashing around in the swamps, and you know that at any moment your party can die. What does Dran reach for?
He's reaching for his well-worn prayer book.
All right. That is an unfortunate thing to, when you reach down for it, to go through your prayers and remind yourself that your deity protects you. You reach down and you don't feel it. You have that panic that you might have lost it in the swamps, and then you hear that whisper from all around you. Nobody else hears it except you, but shaka shaka, waka waka. Give me a perception check.
At disadvantage, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, I am rolling for garbage tonight.
That's what I like to see.
That would be 7. So it's gone.
Yeah, same thing. You just see the wisp of this little shadowy man with a white mask. He literally stands no taller than 3 inches. You catch him at the last second with your spell or your priest book, Bible, whatever you want to call it, and you see that he has this white mask, and it's actually painted like a raccoon's face, and it's just looking at you with like a devilish smile. The mask seems to be painted, a smiling raccoon, and then it just laughs and disappears.
Would I have seen what had happened previously to Gar?
I imagine that you probably would have overheard it, or at least Gar would have mentioned it, like Chewingas are around and being pricks right now.
Okay, so he would know not to try and pursue it, not to be really hostile to it or anything like that. So he'll just kind of be like, little devil. At least I know my prayers. And he'll just leave it at that and just be upset that he lost his well-worn book, but he's not going to go charging off into the woods after it.
All right. Very cool. You, again, can spend some hit dice now. if you wish to heal up any damage that you've taken. Some people took some licks on this one.
I guess before Dran, you the most damage, correct?
Yeah, I sucked up quite a bit.
Before you roll any hit dice, Sienna, having seen that how bad we are, she will walk over to you and she goes, does Dran look like he's older or a younger man?
He's older and pretty grizzled. He's got one side of his face is pretty heavily scarred, and one eye doesn't open all the way. It looks like he's seen quite a bit of stuff.
Sienna will walk over to him and go, here, old man. You helped treat my leg a bit back there, so I should return the favor. And she will hand you a healing potion.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm not afraid of death, but I don't think it's my time yet. Oh.
She'll say, never been much of a Kilovoride. Salooning always appealed to me a bit more, but I'd hate to see you go to him too quickly.
Oh. I still have plenty of work to be done, so I appreciate it very much. And I'll try and keep an eye on you as well as we get further into this trial.
Akira, as you're kind of just like sitting around waiting for this journey to kick off again, the dawn has now come, and you just see the sun starting to peek over the canopy of this dead woodlands. And you see that in the muck, the swamp, this literally, it's almost like a crimson color of like rotted blood. And this smell of stinking death cannot escape you guys. It's literally like you have to hold back throwing up, that feeling of just revulsion. But you see bubbling muck in front of you, Akira, and just gurgling up rapidly.
Yeah, I kind of motion to the other guys and like ask them if anybody knows what this is about.
As you all do that and kind of look at this one spot, you see almost like how, if you're ever watching like an action Navy SEALs movie, Koopaloo surface up from the muck, and it's just this crimson thick muck scraping off of his face. And he looks you in the eyes, Akira, Koopaloo, and hands you these almost coconut furry looking fruit. And he shakes it and just whoosh, 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 a washing sound in it. And he just somehow he's pulling these out of nowhere, 4 of them, drops them down, these coconut sized fruit. They're very vibrant in color. They actually have like these yellow zigzaggy stripes to them, and they're like almost furry, like a caterpillar.
Okay, I'd take them and say thank you and nod my head to him.
He waves back, Koopaloo, and then dives back down into the muck slowly, as if taking the elevator. Yeah. So yeah, you have that. You just pocket them.
Well, first I asked the group if they know what they are or what we can do with them.
We'll say that Kawasha is out on like kind of a morning routine right now. If anyone wants to make like a nature check themselves to see if they can figure out what it is, and then if not, you have to be proficient in nature.
Sienna is.
So yeah, see if you know what it is.
I got a 7.
7? Nope. Looks like a nice coconutty fruit to you.
Would history do anything for me?
Probably not, unfortunately.
Okay. Gar is also proficient in nature.
All right.
Oh, he's not very good at it at all, but 16.
16. You've heard of these, Gar? Tricky little fruits that they are. They're called dancing monkey fruit. And basically, they, for 8 hours, let me just read it actually. If you drink them for 8 hours, they will make you immune to poison and disease conditions. But you have to make a constitution saving throw, or basically like be constitutional enough to save against this. And if you don't, you are forced to basically dance for a minute. You just are overcome with this feeling of jiving around. And if you actually fail to save, you don't get the effect of the plant.
Yeah, I hand one per like person and keep one for myself.
All right. So if you ever are faced with poison or disease, you know that you could potentially kind of quaff one of these and maybe have some immunity to it for a portion of the day. With that, Kawasha returns and says, "Where's the weed?" And Koopaloo kind of gurgles up from the thing. All right. We should be close now. And you guys begin to slosh through the muck. Everyone give me a perception check.
Perception. My newly armed wizard is actually somewhat decent at.
Still at disadvantage, right?
Yes, if you two are at disadvantage until you actually get that cured, which might not be the easiest thing to do.
16.
Okay. I got
16?
17.
17. All right. Anyone that rolled higher than a 15, you hear a commotion in the distance. Entities that it's actually kind of strange. As you wake up on this day, the undead have been more distant than they have been for the last 4 or 7 days, or like 4 to 7 days that you've been on travel for now.
Oh.
And you look around, just kind of surprised to hear the silence, but then something breaks that silence, and you hear the sound of some kind of living creatures doing something in the swamplands. It's up to you guys how you want to approach it. You don't necessarily see it, but you hear where it's coming from.
Sorry to try to jut in again, but Sienna, if no one stops there, Sienna will send Rig flying over to the direction that she heard the noise, and if it's still within 100 feet, she will perceive through his eyes and everything to see what's going on.
All right. So as you kind of eyes roll back in your head, and what's your raven's name again?
Rig.
Rig. Cool. Let me note that, so I don't have to ask every single time.
Gar will probably follow a little bit behind Rig, probably a good 30, 40 feet behind him, but he'll go up and kind of take a quick look around above the canopy, see what he can see as well, but he's not going to get too far away from the group at all.
All right, so I'm going to say that both the Raven, Rig, and Gar, you guys see this without any perception checks needed. You see in the distance about maybe 60 feet away through these canopies of tree lines, a swarm of grung. A total of actually 6 green skin grung and 1 red skin grung. And they're kind of sloshing through the mucky swamplands. You see that the 6 green ones all have a big handful of golden gutweed. And then you see this red one. It wields a quarterstaff, actually. Actually, that's a lie. I'm sorry. It doesn't wield a quarterstaff. I don't know why I said that. It does wield a dagger on its side, and it has this, basically almost gives the illusion that it has this war paint, this black kind of shadowy eyes, and then it dribbles down on the side of their face, but it's actually just their natural skin color. And it just seems like this slimy creature. But you see this red skin grung actually hold up its hand. It seems to be the leader of the group, and call them to a halt. And then you hear the sound of like some small animal crying in like fear of its life. And you see all the grungs kind of momentarily with their spears and daggers and short bows go into like stealth mode. And then you see what is called a Alamira in the distance, which is essentially this small like unicorn bunny. It has a unicorn's horn, but is basically like a spotted brown bunny. You see the red grung hop up onto a tree and almost hop to another one. And this Alamira is stuck in the mud trying to get its way out, and it seems to be worried, or obviously like fearing for its life. The grung drops down in front of it, pulls out the dagger, and its leg is caught in something. You see it holding the dagger above this small creature.
Damn.
And then it grabs it. The Alamira begins to shake and quiver even louder, making a small crying noise. And then it takes the dagger sharply, quickly, jabs it down, and then cuts it free. It lets the Alamira go. Gar, you've not heard of grungs being like this before. And Sienna, you've also heard that the grung are cruel, evil frog entities that just kill and pillage what they want. But you both kind of see this unfolding. It drops the Alamira onto like a piece of flat land, and it hops away. It curiously stands up on its 2 back legs and looks at the grung sniffing, and then hops away into the tree lines. Give me a perception check. Or sorry, did someone want to say something?
I was just saying, What would Sienna know about Almira's? Does she know anything about them?
Give me a old. Let me see. Give me a nature check.
Nature. 20.
All right, cool. You know that they're timid rabbit creatures with a 1 foot long spiral horn emerging from their forehead. You know that they were actually brought to Chult long ago by merchants from a distant land called Zakara. And they are normally skilled at evading predators. And they are creatures that have actually flourished in this tropical peninsula now. They have actually spread like wild rabbits and are a pretty common thing and can be actually domesticated if captured. It's a common pet for like small children because it's basically a unicorn bunny. How fucking cute is that?
So it's not a magical creature or uniquely special in any way.
No, but you know that they're normally really good at evading predators. And give me a perception check, Gar and Sienna.
All right. Use Rig's perception because he has a different perception than me.
Gar got an 11.
Got an 11. All right.
16 for Rig.
16. All right. Give me a second here as I actually tell you what you see. You notice as the Grung basically is watching the Alamira trot away, that behind it, the vine that it cut free actually wiggles up to life behind the Grung, and it doesn't see it. And you also see eye stalks carefully watching this Grung, and then they're unsuspecting, and it looks like this tentacle thing is going to reach out and grab the Grung at any second. Do you do anything?
How far away are we from this thing?
I think I said like 40 feet.
40 feet. Like how obscure is the sight from the Grung? Like, is it completely invisible from us from the group, or?
Yeah, right now it's obscured, for sure.
3/4 or completely?
Completely obscured. But there's like a path that if your rig can somehow communicate to you guys, you would know like basically a path that you can take. It's just right now line of sight is obscured.
She will cut sight with Rig and like, oh Tosh, let's see how this works. And she will go forward enough to be able to at least see the thing enough where she has line of sight on the thing trying to grab the Grung.
Okay, so now in the swamplands, I forgot to mention this, but terrain is difficult to slosh through. So basically, you lose half movement right now. So do you want to take the dash action to move the 30, which still puts you basically out of range, but you can at least yell out? And then we're gonna let Gar go also, but let's let you say that first. Actually, let's do Gar first because he would be the next person that gets to react.
Probably the last thing Sienna sees through Rig's eyes is Gar just dive bombing. Like, he is full out movement. I can get there. How you said 40 feet?
From you, like less than that.
Okay. So yeah, he gets there, and he on his way he pulls out his quarterstaff, and as soon as he gets to that vine, he is full on out slashing at it.
All right. Sick. And then so back to you, Sienna. How do you want to handle this difficult terrain? Basically, even with a dash, you can't necessarily get there. But we're just going to picture that both these things are happening like simultaneous, and then we're going to jump into it.
She'll dash then, since she trying to get actual line of sight on the thing. All
right, perfect. And
even if it's quite obscured, she just wants to be able to see it.
Dran and Akira, as you guys are kind of watching your friend with her eyes rolled back, waiting for some kind of confirmation, you just see her snap out of it and then begin to dash through the muck. Do you yell out anything, Sienna, before we jump into it?
Just that, like that curse to herself of, oh, Tasha, let's see how this goes.
All right. Gar, before things kick off, I will let you swing at this vine if you want, but as you basically this massive tiefling gargoyle-like creature land on a branch in front of the grung, they all just like instinctively go to like attack mode. They have their weapons, and you just hear them all like croaking at you, and they look like they're about to attack. What do you do?
I would pretty much just scream out "Killer Vine." You know, I doubt they could understand. Maybe they get a few words of common, but I'm not going to do anything outwardly aggressive to them. But it's going to be abundantly clear that I'm attacking this vine that's about to attack I think it was the red grung.
Yeah. Do you want to make an attack before we jump into initiative, or?
Yeah, I would totally be just
all right, swing
taking
at
a
it.
swing at that thing. 14.
That's the hit on the vine.
All right. D12 bludgeoning.
12 bludgeoning. You hit this vine, and with a confident, basically, what is it, like a punch or a quarterstaff whip?
Yeah, quarterstaff.
It slops down into the mucky, bubbling swamp, and you maybe for a second think that you have like disarmed it, and you look to the grung, who are all looking at you with like anger and like ready to attack in their eyes. Their instincts kick in now and see you as a threat. But then from behind where the red grung stands, this massive bubbling pile of liquid starts to just gurgle up, huge in diameter, and then you see it, several eye stalks start to lift, and then this green, massive, huge, reptilian-like large mouth with teeth and maw and whipping snake tongue, several tentacles all whipping out, a frogamoth appears in the muck and is now right behind the grung. And they now realize what you're doing, and that a fight for their life is now before them. Everyone roll initiative. Once everyone's rolled, I'm just going to ask, because I actually don't keep the Hangout chat in front of me. So let's do Gar first.
17.
17 on the Inish, and then we'll go ask Akira next.
I forgot I had it all. I got natural 20.
Nice. Dran?
With exhaustion, do I roll disadvantage on that?
I can never remember this one, so I just say no.
All right, 17 then.
17. And then, did I already ask Gar? Wait, I have Gar in here twice. What the heck happened? Okay, Sienna.
I got 22 in total.
22. Very nice. So the first person to act, if anyone wants to keep initiative, actually, it'll probably be a little bit confusing, but for you guys, it's going to go Sienna, Akira, Dran, Gar. So go ahead, Sienna.
Can she see this thing from?
Yeah, you now with your dash action are about 10 feet away from it, and you just kind of see this Frogamoth stand up, this towering, huge creature, completely green scaled, and this mouth that just looks like it can swallow you whole. It's large, like spiked tongue, whipping out along like a frog almost, looking to suck up anything that it can.
Looking to try and keep away from it a good bit. She will make a normal move like 15. If she moves like another 15 feet back, will she be completely? Will she still be able to see it?
Yep.
All right, then seeing this thing pop up, she will cast a catch a scorching ray by the toe.
All right, go ahead and scorch it.
All right. Let's see here. Shot. 14.
That'll do.
16.
That'll do.
Crit.
There you go. That's not a bad roll.
All right, first hit. 9.
Okay.
12.
Jesus.
Now the crit hit. 14.
14. So total of 35 damage. Very nice. You basically back forth, seeing what this horrible creature now is, towering in front of all these grung, making them look like puny little frogs in the grand scheme of things. And you just hold out your hands and shoot one scorching ray, landing right into the side of this creature's ginormous belly. A tentacle whips out and tries to grab one. You shoot your other hand out and blast it away. The tentacle withers away back in burning pain. And then finally, putting both hands together, you shoot out a large, powerful scorching ray and hit this creature right in the center of its mass. A large burn mark is left there, scorching its flesh and peeling away. Next up, unless you have anything else to do.
Would Sienna... would she be able to actually know this is a frog hemoth, or is she...
You can make a nature check if you wish.
Would it be Arcana, because it's a unnatural creature?
Yeah, sure.
16.
16? Yep, you know what it is.
She will shout out that this thing is a frog hemoth. They are dangerous from everything she's heard. Don't let it catch you. We have to fight this as a retreat.
Oh, interesting. I just seen something. As you finish the blast of scorching fire, though, and the smoke kind of withers away, you realize that it seems to have not burned its flesh as much as you thought it would have, as essentially it appears that this thing has resistance to fire. So, unfortunately for you, not as successful.
Oh.
What did you roll on the Arcana check again, though?
A 16.
16? Okay. I'll say that you do know that although the creature is resistant to lightning damage also, you know that it has some susceptibility to taking lightning damage. So basically it shocks it and throws it off for its turn as long as you shock it. I don't know if you have anything to do so, but you can kind of yell that out like, hey, this thing doesn't do well with lightning.
She will mention that. It says, if you want to hurt it, use lightning magic.
All right, Akira, you see Sienna run forth and kind of turn around one of these trees where a blanket of vines kind of lose track with her. You instantly get the sense that something's wrong. You follow her, but it's difficult to do so in the muck. So you basically, I'm assuming, actually, I'll throw it to you. You're 30 odd feet away from the actual fight, but you have to move through a difficult terrain. So what do you wish to do?
I guess I proceed sloshing through the muck and try to catch up to her.
All right, so you use a full dash action and you basically put yourself on the perimeter of the fight. You would see this large, green mass of tentacles and just this barrel-chested creature, and in the center of it is just this large mouth that could swallow a man whole, with teeth jagging out from every corner of it, and on the top of its head is several eye stalks. You look around and you see however the heck you pronounce it. How'd you say it again, Matt? Froghemoth?
It's a frog hemoth.
Froghemoth.
Behemoth, but with frogs.
Yeah, Froghemoth. A terrifying creature. And then, so that's your turn unless you wanted to do anything else or say anything.
Just pull out my crossbow.
All right, pulling out your crossbow. You ready it? Dren, you see Akira and Sienna now dash in front of you. Quasha and Koopalu look and say, it appears that there is trouble around the corner.
How quickly could I get to the froghemoth?
So basically, if you dash, you can close 30 feet of the distance and then basically put yourself 10 feet away from the fight. But unless you have some tricks up your sleeve, navigating the swamps is going to be a bit difficult in one turn.
All right. Then I'm just going to use the dash action, just trudge as fast as I possibly can, plodding through the muck, just hammer through it and get to where I can see it and just go, oh no.
Sure. Don't listen to the clearly smarter than everybody else wizard who tells you to make this a fighting retreat. Keep running through the mud.
And as a bonus action, I'll cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Nice. That's a smart choice. Gar, you whack down the tentacle thinking that maybe you've destroyed whatever horrible assassin vine this is, and then this towering giant now before you. Its mouth just like open. You smell its breath as if it's just swallowed hundreds of thousands of corpse and let it sit in its stomach. And its toothy maw and tongue is whipping around. You have to back away momentarily as its tongue slaps onto the branch that you land on. What do you do?
Gar sees this thing come up out of the swamp, and for a second he just looks at it and is like, "Curse the gods." And then he readies. He's got his quarterstaff out, and I'm pretty sure he's still within striking range. Is he?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Then he's going to go ahead and full force with his quarterstaff. He's going to go ahead and use a key point for flurry of blows as well. That's a 16 for the first one. It's like a 22 for the second one. And a 21 for the second, or third.
All three will bop on through.
All right. And ooh, that's nice. 25 damage total.
Nice.
And it can't take reactions.
Useful.
I'm going to use the open hand technique, and then Gar's going to move 25 feet up in the air.
Yeah, so basically as you thrust your wings up and try to move, you see that like one of the tentacles tries to reach out for you in a reactionary attack, but with the way of the open fist, you've just like kind of stunned or paralyzed that tentacle, and it just momentarily stops as you chop it and then fly up into the air unobstructed by the horrible creature. Kawasha is actually up next, and he begins to walk around, and as he's just, what is going on over here? And then he comes around the corner and just, oh no, looks in horror as to what he sees. He will come up behind Akira and say, if you're going to approach this creature, you must do so carefully. And he taps you on the shoulder, and you feel this surge of lightness to your feet, and you just feel quicker as he casts Long Strider on you. I believe you can do that. So you get another 10 feet until the spell ends, and you'll actually cast it at a higher level and also touch Dren. So Babop touches both of you, and you both get an additional 10 feet of movement. And then he will ready his quarterstaff and say, we should think wisely before fighting this creature head on. And then next up in the initiative is a gurgling bubble of muck. And Koopaloo comes up from the muck. Koopaloo. He sees the entity, and he'll actually spend his turn ducking back down, hoping that no one actually seen him come up. And Froghemoth is now the next person to act. You flew high enough in the air, Gar, and the first thing that attacked it, so it would normally go after you. How far did you fly?
Is it 20, 25 feet?
25 feet?
Yeah.
The tentacle range is literally just like feet away from being able to reach you then. And with that, it then turns its eyes on the grung, the swarm of green grung that were basically just there, and it's going to make a tentacle whipping attack at them 20 feet away, just trying to suck up as many of them as he can. He rolls a pretty low, but still a hit on the grung, and instantly wraps one of these grung up. You see his large, thick green tentacle wrap around the small creature's poor body, and then just a sickening squeeze as its head literally like blood starts to gush out of it, and it squeezes one to lifelessness instantly. And then will reach around and with a tongue, its long barbed tongue, try to grab another grung, who will make a save and be sucked up by the tongue and basically dragged right in front of its mouth. And then, making sure that I'm running this right. And then we're going to make it as a bonus. And then the Froghemoth takes both grung and swallows them both whole. 2 grung instantly killed within a second. The other 3 remaining grung are next to attack, and they all start pulling out their oh shit, these guys don't even have short bows. They have daggers. They jump onto the trees and instantly go into retreat mode as they know that they're not set to fight this creature. Next up is the red-skinned grung, and it has a little bit more abilities, and you see it actually channel a spell. Speaking, it just kind of ribbits and croaks and rook, 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 and as it casts a spell, it jumps 25 feet in the air and lands on a tree, and then it will pull out a short bow and ready its attack next round, giving itself some distance from the Fraghemoth. That brings us to the top of the initiative. Sienna.
Sienna's saying that her friends are not going away, but moving more towards. She will just look like, look, you fools, we need to go now. Leave the grung to fight it. We have to go. And then she will cast Misty Step to 30 feet, like back towards where they were coming from, away from the grung.
You bamf away.
Yep. And then she will make a when she teleports, is she back on like dryish land or still in the muck?
You can like basically find yourself near a tree, but there's not really any like firm ground around here. So you can basically find like a small little bluff of ground, but it's definitely not enough to like, if you actually have to make an escape, you guys know you're going to be in trouble in this muck.
Yeah, she'll teleport there, and then since Misty Step is a bonus action, can I still take an action?
Yep.
She will take the dodge action.
All right, that's a smart choice. You see Sienna turn into a puff of mist and then appear 30 feet away, readying herself for any attack. A good distance from this creature, but still you see fear in her eyes as she is ready for anything. Clearly warning you of this creature. Akira, you now feel this long strider spell course through you. You have an additional 10 feet of movement now. What do you wish to do?
Okay, you said something about it has eyes on top of it.
Yes, eye stalks.
I'm already my crossbow and try to hit one.
All right, you pull out your crossbow, you load it up, pulling back the draw and release it. Go ahead and shoot.
Natural 20.
Natural 20, nice. Go ahead and do damage.
Okay, that was 1d8. Where'd you go? Let's see. 8 plus 3, 11.
11 points of damage into its eyeball. It reels back in pain as one of the 3 eye sockets or eye stalks take 11 points of damage. It kind of just, its tentacles all synchronized wheel in pain, and you see it chomp down at anything, just trying to eat as it sloshes through the mud. This tidal wave of crimson, thick gore swamp lands kind of rushes out towards you guys. Anything else on your turn?
Yeah, that's my extra action. I'm gonna dash going the other way.
All right,
back to where
action.
we was.
So now you can dash action, basically move 40 feet due to the long strider. So you nope, don't want to fight this. Dren, you're now up.
Yep.
All right, about how far am I away from it?
10 feet.
Okay. I didn't have I seen the golden gut root?
Perception check.
That's going to be a no, I'm sure. I rolled a 3 on the die.
Yep. Nope. No gut root.
Okay, so I'm not going to know. I'm not going to be driven to get that. Okay, so I'm going to cast Spiritual Weapon.
Cool.
As a bonus action, right behind it. And as I think, basically, as soon as I cast it, I get to make an attack with it with my magic attack.
Yep.
So that is... Sorry.
No worries.
+4. Okay. Now, do I have disadvantage on attacks being exhausted as well?
Nope. That's much further down the line.
Okay, good. Thank God. 16?
That'll do.
All right. Deal some damage. 4 whole points of force damage from that.
What's your spiritual weapon look like?
It is a bastard sword. It's a 1.5-hand sword.
Nice.
Glowing kind of a grayish white light.
Sweet. Just materializes in and then thrusts forward and cuts across the belly of this massive creature. Anything else?
Bonus action. As my action, I'm going to cast a cantrip.
Yep.
I'm going to cast Toll the Dead.
Interesting.
And let's see. It has to make a wisdom saving throw versus my DC of 12? 12.
All right. It rolled a 10. Oh, God. What is going to happen?
Yeah, failure? Total?
Yep.
Okay. If the target is missing any of its hit points, it takes 1d12 necrotic damage.
It sure is missing a couple.
Oh, thank God for that. Come on, big money. 12 whole damage.
Nice. That's a good strike. All right. What does the spell look like, actually? I'm curious to see how you flavor it.
Let's see. So, let's see if it has anything in here about it. Nope. So, you'll see Dran will basically, he's got a shield up and a mace in one hand, and he'll kind of reach out with his mace and just kind of like move it across the thing like he's trying to hit it with it, but just like real gently. And as he does that, you see this little like cut just form across it.
Very cool. I'm assuming that's it for your turn?
That will be it for my turn.
All right, Gar. You're in the air now, momentarily hovering. You look down and you see Dran just cut into this creature, and then the toll of this this bell just kind of fills the air, and you see another cut go across the creature as he's channeling some kind of necromantic cantrip. What do you wish to do?
Gar will, he's still got his quarterstaff out, so he's going to dive bomb this thing again. He's going to move 25 feet to get back within striking range, and then he'll use another key point for Flurry of Blows.
I dig it. I dig that you guys are fighting a Frachymoth right now.
Smart wizard lady telling you what to do.
Nat 20.
Hey, nice, guys.
Go ahead and roll that one now. All right, and then the second 2 attacks. 14.
Okay.
Does that hit?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. And then that's like 21. $30 damage total with the crit.
That's a decent amount. All right. So yeah, you dive bomb down. Anything else, sir?
He's going to move. He's only got 15 feet of movement left, so he's going to back up 15 feet.
Oh, perfect. That's what I like to hear. You dive bomb down, double hand thrusting the quarterstaff right along the side of this creature's mouth. You see the tentacles start to swarm around you. You kind of barrel roll to one side as one narrowly misses, slapping into the muck just in front of Dran. You look up and you see 2 more shooting at you. You kind of go up into the sky, trying to get away from it. Quasha up next as he sees this going down will what will he do? He says, "It appears that you guys are not listening to your wizard friend. This is not a fight that we want to take." And he doesn't have anything ranged really, and he doesn't want to go melee with that thing. He will try to cast. Can he cast this on it? 20 feet, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he will then take his quarterstaff and the vine encased spike tip. He will begin to spin around and etch out these arcane ruins or glyphs in the sky. And then dipping his quarterstaff into the ground, you see entangling roots shoot out and kind of ricochet and swarm and wave up the water and then form this 20-foot square radius around the creature, the Frachymoth. The Frachymoth will make a save to see if it's resistant. And it more than definitely is, as these entangling roots shoot up and grab onto the tentacles that are going for you, pulling it down. The creature just, you see the muscles in the tentacles just pulsate and rip itself out, destroying all this entangling spell, but nonetheless forming this thorny garden of a 20-foot radius around the creature. He says, "Quickly, we are lucky to have our lives." And Koopaloo not getting in this fight. You see a gurgling bubble of mud just kind of head over towards Sienna and then pop back up, and he brushes himself off and looks at you and just gives you like a knowing nod. Koopaloo. Like, yeah, you're the smart one right now. Next up, two of you are in trouble. As Dran, you kept your distance, and unfortunately, Gar also kept his distance. The creature is going to try to tentacle strike both of you. This one first on Dran. A 16 to hit.
Misses.
You hold up your shield and feel the weight of this creature. As it pushes you back, you feel your feet dig into the swampy mud underneath, but nonetheless, you dodge its attack. Gar. Oh my god. Why are you so unlucky? I crit. Good luck, my friend. 25 damage. As this creature, the entangling roots grab it and pull it back, but then with the ferocity, all three break forth and just come at you, and you look down and you know you can't grab it. They instantly wind up around your legs, pulling you, and then another one grabs your arm as you try to fight, and then one's around your neck, choking you. You're grappled when you get hit by this, and you take the 25 damage, and you look down, three tentacles grabbing each part of your body, and it's pulling you in towards this massive opening of a mouth. That's it for its turn. The Grung swarm of green. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They have no range. They look to the red Grung, and they just basically start to go back and forth. Rook, rook, rook. And then the red Grung actually seems to have like, I don't know. Actually, you probably wouldn't discern this, but it replies back with its dagger pointing at the party, and the Grung all jump down, and basically the four remaining Grung come towards you, Sienna, and they're all like hanging in the trees, looking down at you, pointing their daggers at you, and they're basically rook, 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 pointing their daggers. You don't know what they're saying. The red Grung now up will Can I do this? Can I do this? Sorry, just reading really quickly. This is one action. Okay, interesting. Will take its dagger and pick up a vine that hangs, and it will cut into it and mutter these verbal magical words that just sound like a frog rippeting. And as you look, you see this root start to spring up little tendrils of life, and it throws the chunk of root into the water, and then the entangling roots that Kawasha just casted begin to grow at a rapid rate and basically form a temporary dam around the creature's mouth, stopping it from swallowing you whole for at least one turn. Next up is Sienna. You're surrounded by four green Grung, and they're all menacingly holding their daggers at you, and you see that their daggers are actually dripping in some thick, slimy liquid.
She will just like wave at him, like, just get out here, you damn frogs! Go, go!
They'll like swing their daggers at you, like almost offensively, if you try to ward them off. And
then she the thing of the two off, she turns and then will, seeing Gar wrapped up like this, she's going to cast grease on the frog hemoth.
Interesting. How does grease even incorporate in water? Does it account for that? I'm imagining it's just greasy no matter what.
I'm assuming so. It just says slick grease covers the ground in a 10-foot square centered on a point within the range and turns into difficult terrain for the duration when the grease appears. Well, I guess it's already difficult. Would that make it quadruple?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily stack unless it actually specifies in a certain wording. So since it's both difficult terrain, it doesn't stack.
Right.
But
each creature standing in the area must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or fall prone. A creature that enters the area or ends its turn there must also succeed.
Cool. All right, I like it.
And I guess oh, I can't remember how monsters do saving throws. Would it roll against my save?
Yep.
It would be a dexterity save against DC 14.
Yeah, I think it does it on its turn, at the start of its turn.
No, immediately as soon as it's cast.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it says, yeah.
Froghemoth. Let me just double check. I'm reading it. Blah blah blah. Creature standing in its. When a creature, it falls prone. I don't know what that really. Or let me make sure that it's not immune to that condition. It's not. So yeah, it falls prone into the thick untangling bush. Gar also disappearing with it because the entangling brush is like grown so rapidly from the Grung spell that they both just kind of fall into the muck, and you hear like a big splashing sound, and a small wave of big gurgling water comes rushing out as they all just disappear, or two of them disappear.
She's hoping Gar is squirmy enough to be able to get out of that.
All right, I'm assuming that's it for your turn.
Do I have anything I could use? That's. I guess that's it for now.
Okay, Akira. A massive wall of roots just start to grow and grow and grow, and then you look in the water in front of the Froghemoth. Seems like slick and greasy, and then it just literally for some reason slides and falls into the muck, and you see Gar and the creature of the vine forest. You've put some distance between yourselves now, and as you look to Sienna, who's just finished casting a spell, you see that she's surrounded by 4 Grung. You're muted, my friend.
Yeah, how far am I away from Sienna?
You moved back on your turn, so you're
ignoring the Grungs at this point. She's not treating them like they're a threat to her.
All right, I don't know. I'll just stay where I am and ready my swords just in case.
You want to ready in action?
Yeah.
Trigger being if the Grung do something?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Next up is Dren.
All right. Time to be stupid. Dran is going to stride forward and try to cast Inflict Wounds on it at 2nd level.
Very cool. Do you need to see it?
I need to touch it.
You need to touch it. So we said that you're 10 feet away. It's difficult terrain. It doesn't stack. So yeah, it's technically 20 feet away from you. But you basically go into this heavily obscured vine bush. You're basically crawling your way through, pushing through these thick vines, and then you see it.
All right. Now,
does he enter like the same squares it would be on?
What do you mean? Oh, the grease. Yeah. You have to make a dex save. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're in the grease.
It's a 10-foot radius around it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm not going to do that if it's going to have to deal with grease. I'll try Ray of Enfeeblement instead.
Okay.
So it has to make a Constitution saving throw, DC 12.
All right. It's kind of good at that. Let's see if I can get it done. 20.
Yep. Nope. That's not going to work. All right. Then bonus action, Spiritual Weapon will attack.
Okay.
Have advantage?
Yeah, you do.
All right. That'd be a natural 20.
Nice.
So that's... how do you do your crits?
Double dice modifier once.
Okay. 2d8. 16 damage from that.
16 damage. Okay. The creature is now bloodied, I guess I should say, but definitely not like critically injured or anything yet. But you have injured it pretty good. Anything else on your turn, Dren? As you just basically hit it with your spiritual bastard sword again. It goes through the vines and just stabs into its gut as it's trying to pick itself up. Vines are encased around its mouth that it's trying to chomp through.
I will use my movement and start trudging away.
Okay. Yeah, so you can you have the long strider still on you. So basically you can move a total of 25 feet.
Then I move 25 feet towards the rest of the party.
All right, Gar.
Sorry, Gar.
You're in this forest of thick, viney roots, and you're just face to face with this large, prone creature. It's chomping through the vines by the second and pulling you closer and closer into its mouth. You need to get the fuck out. You're muted. Oh. And you're gone. Oh, no.
I think you hit the wrong button.
Yeah, we'll give him a second to join back in because it's kind of... There we go. Wrong button.
Yep. So, like I was trying to say before whatever. How do you escape a grapple?
So you can use your action to try to escape to DC 16.
Is that
strength or
strength.
Actually it's a grapple, so it's a contest. Or no, you just
strength or acrobatics.
Yeah, you choose.
All right, well, acrobatics then, because
would he get advantage because it's A, laying down, and B, covered in grease? So it's trying to slip through a greased frog.
I will give it to you out of the kindness of my DM heart.
Yay. So it's going to be a 24.
24 makes it.
All right. So I slip free as for my action, and then 40 feet straight up into the air.
You know that it does get a reaction this time, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in that case.
Do you get attacks of opportunity if you're prone?
I believe so. Let me just double check.
I'm going to use a key point to disengage. And then 40 feet straight up in the air.
All right, I'll have to look it up then. Nicely done. That is clutch. So yeah, you so basically it's pulling you closer and closer, and you see like a sawmill just chomp, chomp, chomp. The vines are just being evaporated by its powerful maul, closer and closer, and then you just squeeze yourself out. Key point, disengage. The tentacles try to catch you in return, slapping together, and then you just arise out of the thick entangling vines into the sky. It's not sunny on this particular day, but it just feels like you're embraced by a new life opportunity as you look down and see this horrible creature slopping in the mud, trying to pick itself up. Quasha up next will look to the grung and he will look to the grung and say, "Easy, my friends. We do not need to fight. We just helped each other." And we'll also ready an action to do something when the grungs unfold. Cupola will use the dodge action, and he just looks to the grung angrily. Cupola! And he kind of puts up the dukes, like he's ready to fight them off at any moment. Froghemoth needs to try to make a dex save to get up, right? I believe.
I don't know how prone works. It just says at the end of its... if it enters or if it ends its turn in grease.
So it ends its turn. Okay, yeah. So it picks itself up, begins to move through the bush, and 15 feet, it slides its way through, slomping around, big wakes of muck being formed in its footprints, and then it has to use its turn to break out, and it's actually going to action dash, and it dashes away. It has taken a whooping from you guys, and realizing that, hey, it has 2 grungs in its belly, it's better than losing its life. It's going to go away. You guys have the number advantage, so it retreats as you guys somehow overcome a Froghemoth.
I'm just gonna say, wow.
I've got 5 HP, so short rest if we can. But I know we've got a grung thing to deal with.
Yeah. You think about that, and then the red grung basically drops down in front of Santa, and you're like, "Holy fuck, I need to rest." And it walks up to actually, let's just see what's going to target. First, and then it is Sienna. It comes down, dropping to the ground. Splash lands beside you, comes forth, pulls out its dagger, and basically chants a spell, and you see that its skin begins to become bark-like, and it looks at you. Rook, rook, rook. And they basically all have you surrounded, and then the red grung spins around and looks at everybody and holds its weapon. Rook, rook.
I guess it's the end.
Yeah, we're gonna jump out of initiative right now,
All right.
so it's free form.
Sienna will look to the grung and her very the most cautious way she can imagine from her noble birth. She will look at this grung. She will lower her hands, in a non-threatening manner, like holding, kind of leaning on her staff, and she'll say, "Look here now, little mister. We just saved you. That is very rude to pull a dagger on us. You be nice."
Can I just say something to Sienna?
Yeah, go ahead. We're free form right now.
Yeah, can you talk to her like you did the wolf dude, the wolf tiger?
She goes, "I don't have that spell right now. I didn't expect I would have to use it."
Of course.
Hindsight now, as you think that you're approaching Grung, the Grung hideout or shrine, and you look and you clearly understand as you say this that the Grung has no clue what you're saying to it, and it will actually try to slap you for speaking to it. What's your AC?
12.
12. It slaps you in the face for 1 point of damage, but you need to make me a.
She'll shield it.
She'll shield it. Okay.
Just not even a threatening way. She just kind of just.
Yep.
Just it slaps thin air.
Gar.
Rook, rook, rook. It's getting more angry.
She's "Look here, little mister. Let's not get testy. You do not want to see me mad. Try that again, and we will have an unpleasant version of this conversation."
Everybody else, opportunity to do something.
Dran is gonna. Is Gar up by us now?
I was gonna say Gar on his way over is gonna pull a small flask out of his pouch and he's gonna drink it real quick, and then he'll basically land right in front of the red grung and immediately go to one knee as if he's bowing in front of it, and then he'll pull out a ration and offer it to the grung.
It spins around, and as you land, basically, I imagine even if you're not trying to, you're kind of in an injured state. So you land a bit powerfully, and a splash comes out. They all kind of turn, and instinctively the four grung get closer to Sienna, and they're all inches away from cutting her. And then they see you, your wings kind of fold up around yourself, bloodied, and basically a thick kind of almost burn wound from where the froghemoth almost strangled you to death. And you pull out a ration. And the red grung looks at you. Rook. Rook. And it grabs the ration, curiously holds it up, licks it. See what happens.
I guess before we do anything else, seeing the situation now, Sienna will ready a spell only on the circumstance of her actually being attacked.
All right. Actually, give me a persuasion, Gar, but it's at disadvantage because there's a language barrier here.
Yeah. 12.
12. It's not unsettled by the taste of the ration, and now that you're bowing and showing it a respect, it kind of stands a bit prouder, and then it looks to the others. Dran, Akira, Rick.
Dran will walk up to Gar and put his hand on his shoulder, and cast Cure Wounds on him for
useful.
8 points of damage. Oh, 8 points of healing.
8 points of damage.
Yeah.
I got
and I'm
I did inflict
unconscious.
wounds.
Thank you.
So there. And then he will pull out some of that manga leaf tea that he has. I'm assuming it's still good cold.
Yep.
Okay.
As you like reach into your pocket though, and it sees you casting spells, it everyone goes back to the defensive, and they're just rick.
Dran will ignore them, pull out some of the tea and give it to Gar, and then kind of bow and offer a bit of it to the little frog guy. I can't remember his name now. The little red one, the leader.
Okay. Grung is, yeah. Okay. You hand him manga tea.
Yes.
All right.
So it's one more point of healing for you, Gar.
Yeah, Gar. He sees you hand both him one and the red grung, and then he'll kind of hold it up as if to acknowledge that the grung, this is safe to drink type motion, and then he'll drink it and get the 1 point. Kind of trying to restore some semblance of peace.
It nods its head and drinks it. Give me a persuasion check at disadvantage, Dren. And then Akira, you think about if you want to do something, and then we'll see what his roll is.
Man, why does it have to be a disadvantage? How's a 1 do for you?
It spits it out in Gar's face. And as it does so, Gar, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Is this against poison?
Yes.
Okay. The vial I took was an antitoxin.
Nice.
So, was it Constitution?
Yep.
16.
16 is a save. As you see this saliva of this creature, clearly poison in its nature. Thankfully, you just chugged an antitoxin. You also see that its fingers, its web-like fingers, are all just like slimed up. This creature itself has poisonous skin, and basically everything about the grung are poisonous. It didn't like the taste of your tea. Akira, before you go, you notice that in the back around the perimeter, another swarm of green grung have arrived. Another 6 of them are hopping from tree line to tree line, and you see them backpacking a couple of golden gutweed on their backs. And then they look, and then they also see the unfolding diplomatic attempts here, and they obviously don't look impressed. Do you do anything, Akira?
Yeah. To it, get down on one knee and offer it to him.
Sorry, you cut out on me. What do you offer?
20 gold pieces.
20 gold pieces. Interesting. Give me a persuasion check, not at disadvantage, because money is the one thing that speaks all languages.
Not a persuasion. Be 19.
19. It takes the 20 gold from your hand. Give me a Constitution saving throw as it touched you.
Constitution 14. Disadvantage or no disadvantage?
No disadvantage. That's a saving throw. You only have disadvantage on ability checks.
Okay. That would be 18. 18.
You're fine. You shake it off instinctively, knowing, and just stuck your hand into the swampy water to wash off the poison. It didn't do it offensively. It's just it seems like it doesn't really comprehend that its skin is poisonous to you. It takes the money and stuffs it into its pack. And it all looks at you all, and basically you're ducked down, Gar's ducked down. They look to Sienna and Dran, and luckily for you guys, I can't even believe the luck of this. I just was looking through. Quasha actually has a spell that lets him communicate with these things. So he begins to channel his spell, and he says, "It appears that we have a language barrier here between us. Let me alleviate that, my friends." And he chants, and he speaks with the grung, and he actually begins to go back and forth. Quasha now, Rok, Rok. And then the red grung, Rek, 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 Rok, Rok. And then Quasha comes out from it, And he says, "Well, my friends, I have good news and I have bad news. Which would you like to hear first?"
Sienna will just like put her hands on her like temple, like rubbing, like, "Oh, I've had enough of bad news, but I guess leave with it first."
Bad news?
Yeah.
Yes, bad news first.
This is Chult. We're lucky we get good news.
This red grung, whose name is Korok, believes that you have surrendered yourselves. He wants to take, or she, he actually says, she wants to take you to Dungrunglung before King Grok. They have a ceremony that they think you'll be helpful in.
Sienna will look to the guy. His name is what again?
Kawasha?
She'll
Or
look
Korok.
Kawasha.
Okay.
She will look to Kawasha and she's like, "Can you interpret for me?" And she will look to the not knowing female leader of the grung. Does it have any of the gutweed on it, or was it only the green ones?
It does not have any on it. It seems like the green ones are all the ones carrying it.
She will pull out like a pouch of like 20 gold as well. Point to the gut leaf, like clearly like sign language, like this for that, and the guy to interpret. Like we to tell him that we are willing to. We are here looking for the gutweed. We will be able. We will purchase it. We will trade it for you if you want.
So yeah, they go back and forth for a moment, and Kawasha kind of deep in grung back and forth, and he looks to you and says, "It appears that their gutweed is not for sale, but they said if you help them perform this ceremony, that they will give you some." I do not fully understand exactly what this ceremony is they speak of, but apparently they need this gutweed for it.
I was gonna say I reach in my bag and pull out the fruit I got earlier and start munching on it.
The dancing fruit. Nice. Give me a Constitution saving throw. Please fail.
12.
12. So yeah, you crack it open and drink it down, and then you're just kind of like twitching. And then you just like start to bust out in like a full dance, and you literally
can't stop this feeling.
It says you have to spend every action that you have to just do nothing but dance on the spot, and you do this for a minute. The grung looks to Kawasha and just kind of angrily starts to speak back, and Kawasha looks to you and says, "Please, my friend, stop this. It displeases the grung, your moves." And you just like, you can't, and it borderline like breaks out a fight as they are angry at you for dancing. But
I gotta say, wow, when he starts doing this, Rig will like land on Akira's head and start like, flapping his wings along with it.
Oh god.
Like, "Oh, fool can't dance, watch me." Ah!
It definitely does not alleviate the issue, but nonetheless, the minute passes and you didn't save, so you actually don't get the immunity. But you had a nice little dance about it. Feel great.
Gar wants to ask Kawashi and make sure that he's translating correctly, and that the grung are saying ceremony and not sacrifice.
He looks to you and says, "Well, unfortunately, ceremony and sacrifice are not common words of grung. All I can see is that they want us for something. They want us to see their king, who needs the gutweed, and apparently us. Outsiders."
Guess Sienna has like one last question she'll ask, and she goes, "Like, you know as well as I had the stories about grung, how they're not the nicest of things out here. Ask it why it freed that creature. Why would it do a selfless act?"
Kawasha asks the grung. It replies, and then he basically says, "It appears the grung said that is none of your business."
She goes, well, I don't know if we're going to make any more headway here. The only options we have to getting the gutweed is either A, take it, or B, go help them. I'm rather not have to kill if I don't have to.
It doesn't seem like we're going to need to kill them. Kawasha, do they seem aggressive in any way about this ceremony? Do they seem like giving any indication that it might be dangerous?
Let me see here. I'll make him make an insight check and not tell you guys the outcome of it. He says that the best that he's getting is that someone important to the king is currently ill or not well off.
Sienna, with her, relatively quite high intelligence, but right, to the risk group, will go, do you think they know what the gutweed does as well? Do you think they're trying to stave off the death curse?
I think that's what it sounds like to me. I think they figured out what the gutweed does, and they're trying to do the same thing we are.
Agreed.
And now as you're kind of just sitting there talking for a while, the green grugs like hop behind you guys now and begin to like almost like prod you. Not necessarily like actually stabbing you, but like, okay, it's time to go. Because again, they think that you guys have surrendered.
I guess we should continue this charade and head to the village.
All right.
I agree.
So let's see how long this spell lasts for and for how long you guys are going to be able to communicate with these things.
Would Sienna have recognized the spell?
Basically, I allowed for speak with animals to work. And I'm not actually sure if that's actually raw, but I let it go through. So how long does that last for again? Speak with animals, 10 minutes. So yeah, that kind of washes over as you guys begin to make your way to apparently Dungrunglung, the destination. They walk you through the marshy swamplands for a while. You do see the occasional undead zombie minion kind of trudging its way through, trying to find any semblance of life. But the grung quickly hop from one tree to another, descend upon it, and just like stab into its head and kill any undead menace that you guys come across for the next little while. It takes a full night walk, and there's one point when the grung are basically taking a small break, and they tell you guys to stop, and the nighttime falls upon you. And let me just pull
short rest.
Yeah, this is if you're going to short rest, now would be the time to do so. Just make sure you're tracking your hit dice because you're not actually gaining any back through all this.
Short rest of how long?
Short rest is just like an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can spend hit dice, and that's basically about it. Or if some of your features come back. Interesting. Okay.
Along the way, do we happen to see any wild growing golden weed?
If you did, the grung would definitely be swiping it up.
Okay.
And let's just see if they actually do, because that would be something that they would be looking for. Check. Yeah, they scoop up about a total of 5 more gutweed along the way. And as they pull it out, I guess I should describe to you, those of you who haven't seen it before, it's basically like this golden looking lily pad quite a beautiful thing that actually kind of shimmers off any sunlight that hits it. But as they pull it out of the ground, you hear this like sickening like, and it just pulls it up. And the actual root of this thing literally looks like bloody intestines. And it just kind of drips and is long and like veiny. And it just kind of like they cut off the root itself and tuck the lead on their back, or the leaf. And during the rest, you Dren and Gar, you're kind of just sitting, and you hear shaka, 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 waka, waka, shaka, shaka. Give me a perception check.
12.
12. Nice.
18.
Nice. You both see them this time. The same guys that approached you last. So you see them on the tree, the one raccoon, and it looks at you, Dren, and it hops down, and you're basically like, would you allow the grung to basically tie your hands behind your backs? Because I imagine they would actually go to do that.
I wouldn't like to, but if they put up a big fuss about it, I would.
Yeah, you seem like Quasha would probably tell you that it's best we go along with the charade for now. And your hands are kind of yeah.
I was gonna say I eat a day's rations first.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. And they're not like being like cruel to you or anything. It's actually kind of surprising because you've heard that these frogmen like don't really they're apparently men eaters. Like they're said to be cannibalistic, but they're been pretty decent to you guys. But your hands are behind your back, and you see this raccoon Chawinga on a branch, and it just kind of laughs at you. And it doesn't have your prayer book, but it hops down from one tree to another, and you see it actually kind of like sink into the branch as if it like just melted into it, and then pop out on another branch like 10 feet away, and it's kind of making its way to you. And then it lands on your shoulder and literally gets like eye to eye with you, this 3-inch creature, and it just whispers to you and laughs. And then it touches your face, and you get a blessing for the next 10 days that makes you immune. Actually, no, that's not the one you get. Sorry. They're much nicer to you, actually. You get the blessing of vitality. So it removes exhaustion that you might be suffering from, cures any disease or a poison, and for the next 24 hours, you regain maximum hit dice if you spend them.
Oh, nice.
This lasts for 10 days. Gar, another one drops on you, the guy that stole your dagger hilt. He doesn't return the blade, but he drops, and he kind of lands on your lap and runs up and touches your face, and he gives you immunity to poison and disease for the next 10 days.
Nice.
A blessing of the Chawinga. If you accept their prankish ways, they normally replay the favor, and then they vanish without anyone really noticing it. But you do see Kawasha staring at you both and kind of giving you like a knowing smile. And you swear for a moment that there was a couple whispering in his ear also. Hit dice spent, you guys pick up, and the grung apparently want to march through the night. And as they begin to walk you forth, you finally come upon this. I said that weird. You come in the view of what looks like a massive 20-foot high twist of vines and bristles and thorns. And you see that it almost seems to be like withering itself, moving, constantly slithering this wall, this circular 20-foot barrier of vines that completely opens up into this swamp and wraps around this entire, whatever it is, blocking off this 20-foot wall that carries around in a massive diameter. You see litters of undead zombies have like walked into this wall and basically plunged the thorns into their guts, and they're basically impaled through it. The wall is blocking off the incursion of the undead, and you see that thorns are basically like tacked them to the wall itself from all around. You see hundreds of zombies that are just still like with a thorn through them, trying to get off and claw through this wall and basically tearing their flesh raw as they are trying to claw through the thorny bristles. The grung point you towards an opening in the center of it, and you begin to walk through, and as you get into the wall behind you, slithers shut, and you're encased in this high 20-foot thorny maze. And as you look around, you see that the corridors that it makes occasionally every minute or so actually slither from behind you and basically change the passage, as it seems like you find yourself in a living maze. The grung, however, don't seem to be interested in necessarily following this, and they walk up to a wall, and Croak, the red one, chants some kind of spell. It sounds like Rook Ep is literally what it sounds like. And then a wall just melts away and causes an opening. And you see the inners of Dungrunglung. Let me pull it up so I can describe it to you. It's a massive pond almost, and it spans hundreds of feet, actually. In the center of it is this enormous stone shrine that looks like a giant frog, crudely kind of chipped away, and you see that fluorescent fungi illuminate the entire statue itself and the pond, and it gives this almost soft, dreamy hue. You see short frog-like men of different colors are fussing around and pulling out gutweed and basically placing these these fluorescent fungi on top of the petals and then pushing it out into the enormous pond. And it just literally gives like this almost surreal dreamscape, glowing fluorescent pond that spans the entire innards of this thorny maze. You see off in the distance, as you guys are north, you kind of look southwest, and you see that there seems to be grung hovels, these little squat huts that they make from moss and reeds plastered together with mud. And as you look around the perimeter, you see several of these hovels. Many grung are kind of walking around and curiously looking at you as you outsiders come in, and they all instinctively start to grab at their weapons. But Croak, the red grung, holds up her hand, speaks out to them to calm them. Kawasha looks to you all and says, "Am I really the only one that can communicate with these people?"
Sienna will speak up and says, "If I could just get long enough to properly rest and meditate on my spell book, I could. But I don't know if they'll give us that chance or not."
For some reason, doubt it. All right. I will be your translator. But I am merely a guide. This is your destination that you've reached. And then Cupola walks up. Cupola gives you a nod, and they walk you to the shoreline of this pond and kind of wait there. They croak out to the pond, and suddenly basically like a current swells up and starts to rush towards you guys, and then peeking up is this giant frog, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. Literally like large like creatures that are almost like small elephant sized. And the grung hop onto its back and then poke at you all to like follow it. You can't all fit on one giant frog, but there's enough frogs for you all to basically get onto.
I imagine they would not like if Gar tried to fly across said water.
You could definitely try, but you get the sense that like as you look around, you see at least like 30 grung. And they're all looking at you very skeptically.
Yeah, I imagine he looks around and he considers it for a second, and then he just kind of keeps his wings tucked around him and hops onto one.
All right. You hop on. It sails you across to this giant stone shrine. I'll actually read you the interior of the shrine, as you hop off, and you actually, let me read the exterior first. You see waiting for you 8 orange grung. And as you look at these grung in particular, they are decked out in actual black poison that they dye their skin with to give them their eyes, much like Kurok's, a menacing look, but they're actually like tribally stamped with this black dye all along their skin. And you see that they actually have short bows on their back and much more crafted daggers. And these seem to be like some kind of elite grung warriors, all waiting at the entrance of the shrine. You see them speak back and forth to Kurok for a while, angrily. One in particular seems to be just like really pissed at the circumstance, but Kurok seems to diffuse the situation and then enter you into the shrine itself. And the interior of the shrine is one large hollow room. Just the inside of the entrance is a clear pool of water that ranges from about 2 feet of depth to the deepest part, 5 feet. Fluorescent fungi again illuminates this pool. You see short frog-like men again loading in the gutweed, and basically anywhere there's water is just like hundreds of these gutweed, and they're all fussing with it. And at the back of the shrine, elevated in this semicircular basin of water 10 feet high, wallowing in the basin, this sad looking grung with gold skin and this circlet with a green emerald engraved in the center of it rested on his head, this golden circlet. And he just seems to be holding his eyes, and he's a big fat grung, almost like medium in size. So like most grung are small, this one is almost medium, and it has this big fat belly and this golden skin, and he seems to be just holding his eyes and just and then as he sees you guys come in, he readies up and puts this big mean face on. To which Kruk responds back. They go back and forth for a while. Kwasha goes into his speak with animal trance, and he tells you that from what he can piece together, this King Grok's wife, she thinks Nang Nang is its name, has passed away. And Krok, the red-skinned grung, apparently has promised that she can bring Nang Nang back from the dead. And Kwasha looks to you all in hopeful realization that maybe the grung don't understand it, but the death curse doesn't really make that a possibility. And apparently Krok is saying that you all will help in the ritual to bring back his wife from the dead. And they'll perform this ritual tonight, and she'll finally be reunited with his long lost wife. Or he can't really, it's kind of hard, like there's not direct translation, but obviously someone that this king really cares about.
How like close are we to this like grung king?
You are about, let me just pull up the old maparoo. I'm gonna say I think I said 20 feet. Yeah, so basically the entrance of it is a pool, and then the pool starts at 2 feet and then carries on to 5 feet deep, and then above the pool is a bit of a brick or stone wall, and then at the base of the wall, opposing you guys, 30 feet away is the semicircular pool where King Grok sits in.
Kind of far. Are they like ushering us any closer?
Nope, they just basically expect you to kneel down before the king, which even Krok does.
Sienna will kneel down. We kind of actually have a real look on her face, and she will ask the guy to translate for her, and she will like look to the king, almost kind of like beckoning him a little closer, whether he with whatever he does or not. But she gets down on like both knees, like real low, and she will say for the great grung king, It is truly sad to hear what has happened to you and your wife. There is a sickness upon the land that you know. I do not know about your servant here. She like nods to Karok. But I know magic quite well, and she does. I don't know like how heavily tied her hands are not, but she does the like sort of a very okay. What's the effect? She creates a harmless like little sensory effect with prestidigitation to indicate she uses magic. Just like a like a little puff of smoke, something pretty. Maybe it smells nice. And she goes, I cannot make the same promise that your servant had, but I will do what I can to help you.
As you speak, all the grung in the facility, the 8 elite and Croak, and even the king himself, look like shocked that you just literally interrupt like kind of their conversation that they're having and speak up. And they all like the orange leader jumps ahead, pulls out his spear, and then holds it like he's gonna literally just end you right there. But then the king holds up his hand. And Kawasha looks over to you nervously and says, the king wants to know what you said.
She goes, can you use your spell to interpret what I said for him?
Yes. Another thing that I should tell you is I heard the king mention something about death to all who fail this ritual, including the red-skinned one.
She's like, well,
what do I tell them?
She, repeat to them what I said.
Okay, so you're just basically going to help them out with the ritual?
Yeah, she's will try, but then she like makes a note to like the guy that like like don't interpret this part like, but I certainly won't let them kill me.
Yeah, so he says that back, and the king kind of leans back in his pool like a big mafia pit king or something like that, holds his hand up and kind of strokes his frog chin, and then says, rook, 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 and holds his hand up. And Kawasha says, apparently we have 2 hours to prepare for this ceremony of rebirth, they're calling it, or something like that. And with that, Crook, the red-skinned one, looks at you all like, come on, we got stuff to discuss. And if you follow her, she will bring you back across the pond to her hovel. And as you all are kind of brought there by Giant Frog with moments to prayer, she looks to Kawasha and basically starts to go into a torrent of just rook, 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 like laying out this detailed list. And he nods and shakes his head and looks curious. And after a while, basically what he would tell you guys is that she believes the king has lost his mind due to sadness. And that she knows full well that this god of grungs that he wants to revive, it's not actually his wife, it's a grung god, they're not going to be able to bring back. But she'll pull something out and say she found this in the jungles. And she thinks that if we can convince Grok that the god has made a presence and basically blessed Grok, that it might be enough to just let things go on. And then Grok has apparently been killing people who can't actually perform this ritual, and the morale of the community is dwindling, and they're afraid of him because he's like a tyrant, a warlord, and a very powerful grung. But she fears that if we don't convince the grung or Grok that the goddess Nang Nang makes an appearance, that he'll kill all of us. roast your skins and then eat you alive is apparently the term that they used.
Going
pulls
back
out
a
a-
little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you ask questions first.
Before we left there, I want to use one of my abilities to kind of scan around the room in there, in the King's Chamber. I want to use Eyes of the Grave and see if I can detect any undead within 60 feet.
Interesting. 60 feet? No undead.
Okay. I just want to see if there was anything in there then. Yeah.
Nope. Doesn't seem to be any undead here, but if you get to like the perimeters, you get a sense that there's a lot of undead presence on the outside of this maze, thorny maze.
All right.
Sienna will look to Drawn, is it? Sorry.
Yes.
She'll look to Drawn. She, sad by the fact that realizing that all this is going to have to be a charade, but she explains to you, as a priest and the only other magicer here, aside from Kroak here, I guess we're going to have to put on a show for this king. At least I don't know how much sacrilege you'll treat it, but we need to trick him into thinking this Nang Nang has at least, if not come back, has clearly left him a blessing.
Well,
maybe somehow convince him that Nang Nang has left and leaves him, in her place. Maybe that will smooth his ego a bit. So whatever spells you might have that would help put on this show, I have a plan.
As long as we aren't actually tampering with the veil between life and death, I think I would be okay with this. A little charade for the better of this community, I think, would be fine. I unfortunately don't have a whole lot of showy magic. I can create some light. Looking around, does it look like there's any kind of a special weapon that only those elite grung carried?
Basically, the elite grung seem to be either having basically fancy daggers, spears, or short bows. They're not necessarily like a technologically advanced tribe or anything like that, but they all have poisonous skin, which could be an issue to some.
Sienna will ruffle through her bag, assuming like she's like asked to have her hands free so she can help with this.
I want.
Okay.
Go ahead. You muted yourself.
Yeah, I want to ask Saint Anna if she has any like illusion spells, like create like a frog god. And I want to ask. No, I'm sorry. And I want to ask the druid guide if he has like asked the one dude, the one frog, like what his god looks like, what his goddess looks like.
All right. Kroak actually pulls out something. She kind of bounces over to behind what her bed would be, just basically like thatch and dirt and whatnot. And she pulls out a box, fine wood, and tells Kawasha that this is something she found in the jungle. And she opens it up, and you see that there is a brush, like a paintbrush, and a bunch of pigments in it. And she says that she thinks she can use this to paint a picture of Nang Nang and convince Grok that that's the god. That seems to be her plan. She's going to paint a picture.
Sienna has an idea. I think seeing what she did, she pulls out what is an ancient ivory amulet, which once belonged to a cleric that she got on her first journey here in Schult. And she, I guess, not personally knowing all the magical mumbo jumbo of how this works, she will explain to Darn and Kuruk that she will paint the picture, and Darn will interpret that he is a priest who speaks to gods, saying that this picture has been told to Kurok to be painted of the new of Nang. If you
so-
have any showy magic,
Sorry, do you grab her paint that she pulled out?
she doesn't like touch it.
Okay.
She was just like telling it to be relayed, and then she holds out this ancient ivory magical amulet. That's its magic's kind of wore out, but you would know that and ask that the Jarn will use any clerical magic he has to help put on a show, and she will use her own like trickery magic to make the amulet look like it's blessed by Nang Nang and give it to the king.
Cool. I like it. Surprisingly enough, as you guys are speaking this and you're like, do you know what the god looks like? The communication goes back and forth, and Kurok grabs the paintbrush, kind of spins it around and dips it in the pigment, and then begins to draw it on like a piece of bark. And it's a very crude drawing. It literally looks like a stick frog figure. It's like the worst thing you've ever seen. But then something that completely surprises you is this frog stick thing jumps off the page and takes a 3-dimensional form. And it just like kind of let's see if it moves. It doesn't move, but it takes on a 3-dimensional form.
Would Sienna recognize this magic right away, or would she have to like make an Arcana check?
You make an Arcana check.
Would Dran have ever seen this in
Arcana check.
previous history?
History check, maybe I'll give it to you.
Or religion, possibly.
Yeah.
I
I'll
could do
take
religion,
religion.
or I'll take history at a disadvantage.
I'll take history at a disadvantage, and Arcana is fine.
All right.
And that pretty much just blew Gar's mind.
Yeah.
22 on my Arcana.
Nice. Yeah, you didn't catch it because you're like, holy fuck, this thing's plan is to draw a stick frog and we're gonna die. And then suddenly the stick frog just bounces off the page to like not life, but to like 3-dimensional terms. With a 22, you recognize this as a magical paint called Nolzor's Marvelous Pigments. Or just Marvelous Pigments. Basically, magically imbued paint and brush that can turn 2-dimensional figures into 3-dimensional forms. And that's about what or with a 22, you know that you can actually get pretty extravagant with this. About 1,000 feet worth of paint. You can create inanimate objects or terrain features such as pits, flowers, cells, rooms, basically whatever you want, and it will last for 10 minutes. It's not, or when you complete the painting. Holy shit. When you complete the painting, the terrain or object becomes real, although non-magical. So basically, after a couple moments, this 3-dimensional frog literally just materializes into like an actual solid form, and there's a 3D stick frog just sitting there.
Right, seeing this, she's like, this might work.
This might work. Okay, we have to make this showy. What if I cast while I'll dress up? I have my vestments with me. I can put those on. I can take off my armor. I can look the part. As part of the ritual, I can make her brush glow. We can start with that. And basically, I can cast light on it to make the paintbrush glow.
Sienna will say she has an idea that you do your priestly show, big blessing, saying that Nang Nang has blessed this action. Kurok draws as best she can a portrait, and then I will take this amulet, cast light on it, or cast mage hand on it to make it float from the picture, having cast a light or prestidigitation on it, and present it to the king, saying that he has been blessed by Nang Nang with this holy amulet.
Perfect. So essentially, out of game, what you guys are going to need to do is a series of skill checks to make this performance believable. Now, as you say, Croak should draw Nang Nang. You look at this terrible stick figure frog, and it's
Well,
like,
true. She's like,
Yeah.
Well, then she goes like, "Does anybody here artistic in any way properly?"
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is what skill we have to perform to like draw something believable?
I would allow a dexterity, basically like a reflavored sleight of hand, essentially, could draw it, but more artistic-y.
Okay,
She'll
I got
say,
that.
All right, Narcy.
Let's see here.
Oh, don't roll it yet, I guess.
Don't roll just yet.
Okay.
If we go to do that, I'll put enhance ability on someone and make them a little bit more dexterous.
It's like,
Now-
I've got a +5 20 dex.
You need to be
but I was-
proficient, I'm going to say, in sleight of hand in order to do it.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I'm already proficient in sleight of hand, and my dex is already 18 plus 4.
So,
yeah, he gets-
Another issue that Croak speaks to Kawasha is that someone is going to need to competently sound like Nang Nang, and she knows that the king will recognize her voice.
I
And
guess
then-
that would be Gar. So
Can
I'm
I
already
make-
kind of growly.
Can I make an Arcana check?
On
Wait. Oh, I don't have Arcana. I have an idea, but it wouldn't make sense for my character to know it without Arcana.
oh
I can do like a deception check. Would that help?
yeah, the big factor out of game wise is that anything done vocally, if you don't speak grung language, is done at disadvantage.
I could help with that.
Okay.
I have that enhance ability. If I use that for Eagle Splendor, the target has advantage on charisma checks.
So you basically cancel it out. Cool.
So I can do that.
So who wants to be the voice of Nang Nang?
Would that be a performance?
Probably. Or deception.
Dran is not very charismatic.
I got a 6 in deception. My charisma is up to 14 plus 2. Performance is only a 2 though, so
Gar's not very good at either.
All right. So it seems like Akira is stepping up to be the voice of Nang Nang, the mighty grung goddess.
With I guess deception, he would roll for that.
Yeah, deception or performance. Probably deception since he doesn't actually speak the language. Other things that you'll need to do, like you guys said, is basically create the optical illusion, because at the end of the day, just painting a picture that's 3D isn't going to make you guys make it that much more believable. So do you want to discuss more? As time is ticking, I'm going to say we kind of montage over the first hour, and you're now less than an hour before actually having to give the performance.
I guess
And-
Sienna. Okay.
Go ahead.
As a Sienna, we'll give the rundown that since Akira is the most would be the one to paint, he will paint the picture. With after having Duran cast light on the brush, giving his best sermon he can.
Yes.
Magical sermon. And then when the image comes forth, Sienna will walk up to it and procure this magic amulet from it, casting light on it, and then mage hand to make it float, bringing it to the king. Akira would then again, do the voice of Nang Nang, presenting this blessing to the king.
All right, then. So it seems like everybody. So basically, it's going to be a skill challenge. So I'd like at least everybody to come with something for a skill, and it's going to be. You'll need 4 successes before a certain amount of fails, or the dupe is up.
All right. I guess we'd say Gar, maybe since not being able to contribute magically with this, he could contribute ritually, like mocking some kind of religious ritual, helping do this.
I was gonna say if I needed to fly something or somewhere, I could do that.
I will leave it up to you guys to decide in the moment. Depending on how convincing it is, you might actually oppose disadvantage on your guys' self. But I will say, as you're all thinking about it, that time has passed enough because in real life time, we're getting close to going
Wrap
over.
Right.
So with that, it becomes time, and you begin to hear the tribal drum beats of the grung as the moon is now at its highest peak. You begin to hear doof, 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 doof. And Croak approaches you all now in kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Not fancy, but like
Ritualistic
garb now that she's put on, and it's mostly of like thatch and mud and stick, and has painted herself completely all black. And she tells you now that it's all time. So just to confirm, is one of you basically taking on the form of Nang Nang, and then you're basically drawing over like you're basically Trojan horsing it? Is that what I'm assuming? Is you just like drawing like a god frog, and then someone's going in it and getting a voice from it? Is that the plan?
I don't know. We're going to like draw it on a wall and have it like appear of the wall, and then like maybe a character just like stand behind it.
Oh, you're gonna draw it in front of him. Okay,
maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I was going to come out there. I was going to do the ritual thing to make it look fancy, make the brush fancy.
All right, so yeah, you're now in front of King Grok, who also is wearing ritualistic garb now, and you see his golden skin kind of glistening in the moonlight. He's now standing in the pool, and the nighttime with the fluorescent fungi just really create this kind of a beautiful, almost romantic scene as you see many grung of different colors, blue, purples, orange, and greens, all pounding away at the ritualistic drums. They now enter the shrine. You guys now enter the skill check sequence. So each person will say what they're doing, and the voice of grung or the voice of Nang Nang will have to, the adventure module literally says, give a convincing performance of Nang Nang verbally. So when we get to that, Akira, it's up to you to be the voice of this god. But who wants to go first in the skill check?
I guess
I will start.
The order he puts up the ritual first.
Okay.
So I'm going to come out. My chainmail's off. My shield's not with me. My mace is back. All I have is my hand and a half sword with me. I'm going to walk in confidently, looking the part, wearing my vestments. What's the floor of this area made of?
Most of it is water, but the part that is floor is stone.
Okay. Then I'm going to gently and reverently put my sword down. I'm going to move over to Akira, and I'm going to start doing like a ritual prayer basically and start blessing him. I'm going to cast Enhance Ability on him.
Okay.
I want to make a religion check after all of this said and done, basically.
Okay.
I want to do that, and then basically have him have the brush. I do the same thing and bless the brush, make the brush glow.
All right. Yeah, I'm good with that. Make a religion check.
Oh, thank God. All right. 20.
I just realized. Oh, wait. You're not exhausted anymore. Holy crap. You're lucky. That would have sucked. So yeah, 20 is enough. And you light the broom. And do you begin painting the image?
Yeah.
So
that'd
you begin.
be Akira's next then.
Okay.
All right. That means you still sleight of hand first, right?
Yeah, sleight of hand for drawing.
To draw.
And I'm not at disadvantage anymore.
Are you still exhausted? Or no, you're never exhausted.
No, everybody exhausted. Just no, wait.
Yeah, I should still be exhausted, but didn't he do like some?
Oh yeah, the cancel it out.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you canceled it. Or no, because that was charisma that you canceled out. So yeah, you're still at disadvantage with the dex. Actually,
I thought he was going to do a deception for it though.
Deception was for the voice.
The voice, yeah.
Damn it! I did it to the wrong person.
All right, that's cool.
Disadvantage. Oh God. the beautiful Nang Nang.
I got a 17.
17 at disadvantage?
That's
Yeah.
not bad.
Whew. You, with the glowing paintbrush, begin to stroke out whatever Akira imagines a goddess grung looking like. And it's surprisingly not half bad somehow. And bursting from the wall is this three-dimensional Nang Nang model, or miniature, not miniature. I guess it would be a miniature. It sits there. Grok momentarily stands back in the pool, aghast, taking this all in as 2 successful checks have been made. He gets down on one knee and holds out his hand like a Romeo and begins to chirp out, "Rook, rook."
And this,
Go ahead.
I guess this is when Sienna steps in, you know, her, you know, clothes straightened up and everything, you know, performing the macho ritual. She, you know, produces like walks up to Nang Nang, produces the amulet, casts Mage Hand to make it float in the air.
Okay.
Then casts light on it to make it glow. So
Okay.
it's like, you know, a glowing ancient amulet. And then we'll, you know, like have it like float over to the king, handing him the amulet.
Okay. And what kind of check are you going to do?
The Arcana.
Okay.
For, you know, the majesty of this magic. Let me roll. 18.
18. Okay. So, yeah.
Plus 6 on Arcana, so useful.
The amulet begins to glow this mighty light and then float forth from the sky towards Grok, who, bowing down like a bachelor, an impressive suitor trying to propose to this great goddess, takes the amulet and holds it. And I actually got something for you, Grar. I'm going to push you on the spot, overcome with joy and just finally seeing his one true love, the goddess of all grungs before him. He grabs the amulet and can't contain himself anymore. He has to go and approach the great goddess. And you know that if he gets too close, that he'll quickly see that this is an inanimate thing. So I don't know how you're going to overcome this, but what do you do to like make King Grok not rush forth?
Gar will quickly take to the air and will start just flying in circles, creating kind of a water storm. Well, not really water, but kicking up water spray as he's flying around the area. And then he'll go up and he'll, in midair while flying, I'm not exactly sure how this would look, he starts bowing down to this image of Nang Nang before falling and landing in front of the king, still in that full-on bow, kind of putting himself between Nang Nang and the king.
Okay. And what do you want to roll? How are you going to try to reason it? This is an impressive one.
Acrobatics to do all that? Or would it be deception?
I think that's probably some kind of performance or deception for sure.
All right, I'm going to go with performance.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's about as good as I thought it was going to go. Nat 1.
Oh,
Fuck.
God.
Oh,
You,
So 2?
fall down, and Grauk is just naturally like enraged by this. You've basically stormed or crashed his wedding, his most important day of his life, and it all comes down to Akira now to straighten this out. The beautiful the beautiful voice of Nang Lang is the only thing that can reach out to this. So what do you do?
you do have advantage.
But
You do have
disadvantage. But disadvantage
cancel
because
that.
he doesn't know the language. So you're just rolling straight up.
Best we can do.
19.
19. What do you say? What do you say to Grok? What does it sound like?
Frog goddess trying to placate him.
Rejoice, for I am here. Work, 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 work. Don't cry too much, for I came back for a brief moment. Work, 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 work.
So you literally
I
speak
brought.
half common, half roke. But for whatever reason, the 19,
I was trying to like persupposize them like between the hopefully
yeah.
the broken is what I was saying.
Okay. So that's what was that?
3 successes.
3 successes and
No,
1
4 successes, 1 fail.
4 successes. All right. So yeah, not 1 counting as yeah. Grung looks over you, Gar. Hatred in his eyes, but standing before him is his beautiful goddess, his one true love. And on this day, unlike many other days, the cruel King Grok decides that he will not sully his wedding. And he goes forth and gives the statuette miniature version of Nang Nang a big froggy kiss. And with that, Croak kind of looks to you all like someone needs to do something to get him away from that, or he's going to put it all together.
Is our druid guide still here with us to interpret?
Yep.
Sienna will look to him like quick interpret what I was saying. She'll walk up, like and say, "Oh, great and mighty king of the Grung," kind of kneeling down. "The great, glorious goddess Nang Nang has returned, only for a time, for she has greater things to do, to spread the glory of herself and of her people. But she has left this amulet," she's pointing to the amulet, "to you as her divine favor, that you are the glorious king of the Grungs, and that you will be here in her stead to rule in the name of Nang Nang and for the glory of your people."
All right. Since you guys passed the skill check, just barely, you get to roll a deception at advantage.
Deception at advantage. There we go. Scroll through my things. 19.
19. He looks to you as the words are translated, and he holds the medallion, puts it around his neck, and he takes on this kind of stoic-looking king, like a man that knows that he needs to be larger than his people and his emotions, and that as much as he wants to be with Nang Nang forever, he understands that she is a powerful goddess that needs to go and bless the rest of Grung. So he gives one single teary eye look to her in lust and love, in yearning to embrace her once more, but knows that he must be the proud king of his people. And he steps back and nods to Nang Nang and gives a heart-struck "Rook, rook. Rook, 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 rook," which Quasha whispers, "He just promised her that he'll find her in the afterlife." And steps back into his pool and then waits for Nang Nang to disappear.
How do we make her disappear?
Hit a fireball. I don't know.
Should we just escort it out?
When I
Make it float up.
when I learned the about the spell, is there a way to dismiss it, or is it a permanent
Yeah, I was about
object?
to say, can you what's the spell to spell?
Because she has an idea if she can't if it can't.
It's now a non-magical object. Like it's literally just a real non-magical object now. So it is there.
How big is it?
It is Grung-like, so small. It's like a halfling.
How much does it weigh?
Not very much.
All right, she has the plan.
All right, what you got?
All right. he will walk up to it, like bow gratefully to the king, and bow to this, not material grung, and she will summon Gar, like telling Quethla to interpret, like, and now, while he had to throw himself down in such abasement before the great grung, he must do his part. She'll summon Gar over. She's like, all right, I got plan. Cast levitate on it. You fly away with it and just like float it up into the sky, because it'll just keep drifting as long as you give it movement and you give it momentum. Cast levitate on it and have Gar, ascend it to the heavens, and once he's flying up, to like shove it and have it continue going.
The great Nang Nang begins to levitate up. All of the Grung people gasp in surprise. Grok drops to his knees now, unable to contain himself, and begins to pray to his beautiful goddess wife. As his head is down, though, you see that the levitate spell kind of like doesn't necessarily keep the momentum of the statuette, so it starts to actually like pull itself forward and unnaturally float in a weird way. And it's like starting to like spin so that it would be completely upside down. But you see that all the Grung currently are like bowing and not looking. Quasha's giving you guys like a wide-eyed look, like, do it.
Gar, go.
Gar launches up there and just nudges it ever so slightly, maybe with just a tip of his wing, so that it rights itself as it continues levitating. And then he kind of pushes it to get it to levitate a little faster.
Yeah.
And then like fly it. She's like, all right, go, like, fly it into the heavens.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, you hear like a as no one's really looking, just bowing down to the goddess that now is levitating. Gar takes it and flies up into the sky with it. Moments kind of pass, and the Grung all look up. Their queen, their goddess, gone. Gruk emotionally pets the medallion, looking at it proud, looking at it lovingly, and then wears it upon his neck. He looks to you all and says, "Rook, rook, rook. Rook, rook. Rook, rook, rook." Which translates it to, these outsiders, skinwalkers, or whatever the heck he would call you, have made Gruk's dream and divine purpose come true. He has finally ascended to godhood status, marrying a goddess.
Fuck, what have we done?
It was a beautiful wedding. Beautiful.
And for that, they shall be rewarded and provided leave of this place with their lives. And he asks you guys basically what you want.
He will, Sienna, once again, in the proper, her maginess, maybe beckoning Dran over, as well as, the high priest that helped. And she will say, all that we ask is the gutweed that is no longer used. It has served its purpose in the help, the raising. So we will take it and remove of it, as it is no longer necessary for you. It has fulfilled its purpose. So we will take it and be gone with it.
Dran will do what he can to basically confirm that, and that's all we would like. That we've done our purpose, and that was the reward enough.
This is the gutweed. This is all we require. Now it is useless.
All right. Then gutweed they will give you. And a pretty decent amount of it, actually. And with that, as you guys are, the next morning, you can all actually have a long rest. You are, so basically you don't full heal, but you get all your resources back, and you can spend some hit dice if you want. You're sent forth, and I am trying to think of how much gutweed I should give you, because I did say there was quite a bit there. We'll discuss that after you basically make way with a lot of gutweed. And Croak comes to you and says to Kawasha a thanks, and that without you all and your trickery, we probably would have not made it. She originally planned to just blame it all on you when it failed and basically say that you guys ruined the wedding. But surprisingly enough, it went off without a hitch. So she's a grung of honor and will reward you guys with the remaining paint. So the magnificent pigments. There's still 3 applications left. And she will give you a ring that she has in her possession also. And you'll have to Arcana check that after the adventure, but unless someone has Identify, which I want to get through right now.
I got it, but I don't have it.
Okay.
So
then, yeah, a ring and a bunch of gutweed. And
Gar can carry a lot of the gutweed.
Yeah. You guys are making way with a big hull of it. It's going to be a decent payday for sure, as you have like handfuls upon handfuls, and you begin to make your way back. This time, less undead, and the smell of stinking death has kind of left. As Kawasha looks to you all and says, "With this gutweed, we will help many people. You've done the Emerald Enclave and many people in Nyanzaru a great favor." Kupalu appears from out of nowhere like he seemingly does and just says, "Kupalu."
So yeah, we'll just pat Kupalu on the head, even the raven rig on her shoulder, kind of exhausted by all this. He's all just fluffed out with his feathers. She's like, "Yeah, I need a rest after this."
You make your way back to the city, riding up on the canoe that you guys left banked. And as you get to the main gate of Nyanzaru, you see a posse of men walk out. A familiar emblazoned finger on their chest plate as one man with a full plate armor walks up with a great sword that is like the size of a human. You see emblazoned on his chest the symbol of the flaming fist.
This wouldn't happen to be a Sir Byron Blunt or his brother, Burior. I can't remember how to pronounce it.
Does not look like any man that you've seen. Behind him, a couple of grizzled-looking soldiers, and then behind him, a few more guards. And he looks at you all. "What do we have here, gentlemen and fine ladies? Returning from an adventure. Can I see your charter?"
She goes, "Well, certainly, sir." And Sienna will pull out the charter from wherever she was keeping it.
Pulls it from your hand. Reads over it. "Very good. You're a smart bunch of adventurers, I see. So, what did we find for the fist today?"
And she will look to the backpacks of. Wait, you never did say this. It looks kind of disgusting, but does go.
So the root itself is what looks disgusting, but the petals are kind of nice, and that's what you cut off the disgusting root. And yeah, your bags are literally just, I imagine, because you guys said you grabbed a bunch of it stuffed with.
Can I do a perception check and just tell him or not perception check, a persuasion check and just tell him all we got is just a little bit of this gold weed?
Yeah. Did we see the flaming fist kind of far off as we were approaching the city? Could we see them standing at the door or a ways back?
Give me a perception check, maybe.
I mean,
I'll give it to you. They have a pretty strong hold on the city now.
I'm pretty sure that we expected this anyway.
Yeah.
Perception is a 10.
10? So I'll say that maybe they catch you on the perimeter without you actually before it's like time. So like instead of maybe the city gate, because I guess technically you all would have been expecting this, but like maybe they're coming in from the rear, returning from an adventure themselves, and catch you guys off guard.
Do any of them by chance have a symbol of Kelemvor?
Religion. Or I guess that'd be perception. Sorry, perception.
16?
16. You do not see that any of these particular men are wearing any religious symbols. These all don't seem to be priests or religious people.
Huh.
And they say, "Well, gentlemen, seems like you got some gutweed there."
And that's about all we ended up getting. The Grung were, well, they're poor and simple. You know the stories.
Oh, what do you mean that's all you got? You and I both know that gutweed fetches a nice price. Can save a lot of people. We the Fist can make good use of this, for we're the ones going out into the jungle the most. I appreciate your efforts. And of course, half is yours. But you know the deal by now.
We can use this to save so many lives. Can you take less than half? This is for everyone, for the good of all the people.
He says, what we're doing is for our good of all the people. We the Flaming Fist. And his men kind of snicker behind.
All right, we kind of do like persuasion, like convincing, like take like 20% of it or something.
You could try. You get the sense that this man doesn't look like the persuasion type, though.
Can if Sienna offers him a small bribe of 100 gold along with it, saying most of this should probably go to the Emerald Enclave, as they asked. They're the stuffy folks that actually make the potions. I believe a little bit of monetary gain would also be just as important to help shore up your arms and armor just as much as you would need potions.
What did you roll, Akira?
23.
23. He looks to you and says, 100 gold you're offering me. You look like one of those wizarding types. So don't be playing dumb with me, girl. You know that each one of those leaves go for about 100 gold themselves. You're carrying thousands on you.
Sienna, could Sienna do a check? Like, oh really? I'm not too new around here. I never specialized in botany.
He says, listen, y'all could run your mouths and tell me whatever you want to hear, but the only thing that's getting you through them gates is half of what you got. Either that or we can do this the much funner way. And maybe you won't make it through them gates at all.
Fine, Sienna will just get up, a intentionally pouty face. She's like, oh gosh, this must be why you folks are always in the tavern. You can't ever get women with these attitudes. Fine. Take half the gunk of the weed.
All right, who's carrying the ring?
I guess Chris roll 1d4. See who happened to have it, because we never decided.
You guys could speak up and say who grabbed it.
I wouldn't have.
I guess Sienna maybe would have considered.
Yeah, I'll be guessing like the wizard would, since he's like
she was going to identify it.
Yeah, you can you can try to slide a hand out and see if they don't notice.
All right.
Gar probably would have taken the pigments and stored them in one of his pouches.
Okay. See if you can slide a hand at two.
I got a 15 on the sleight of hand for the ring.
All right. He gets one of the guards to go up and check them over, boys. Make sure they ain't got any other goodies for us. And 15. And what did Guy roll?
23. Sleight of hand.
All right. Here comes an investigation check. First on Akira. Natural 14. So you make it through, tucking the ring, I guess, kind of up your sleeve. Now on Gar, you easily get by to with the pigments. They go to Sienna first, and they kind of go through and they say, "See, was that so hard? We're a fair bunch. You get half, we get half. And then when we go out and destroy that death curse soulmongering thing, you'll be thanking us. We ain't so bad. Go on, little girl." And he kind of gives you a shove after taking half of your gut weed. All right,
And,
who's next?
Before he walks up, Sienna kind of like, as a slight backhand, she goes, not knowing, considering, looking like this guy's, at least, somewhat high ranking in it, I would assume, by the fact that he's got the nicest shit out of all of them.
Yeah.
She goes, fine. Final warning to you, dearie. Beware that elven woman. You know the one you're working with. Don't trust her. You're puppets to her. And then just return to a very cheery smile and continue on her way.
He kind of just sneers. Magickas always think they know they're smart or something, and just kind of mumbles.
She's just kind of mutters under breath. That's because I am.
All right. Nobody tries anything funny, as these guys literally just rip off all your hard work.
Dran really doesn't like this, at all.
I was about to ask where they put the gut weed at, and if they're paying attention to where they put it.
Basically they get the lower tier privates to basically scoop it up. You see them doing it so with just the nastiest sneer on their faces, thanks guys, must have been hard work getting that, eh? Those grungs are nasty. Did any of them bite? And they start to take it off you and just gleefully put it in a backpack and throw it over their backs.
So while they're checking Sienna and the other one, where would I be standing at?
I imagine just in the open with everybody else,
where they can see me.
Yeah. You guys are kind of in an open area.
No, I mean, but will I be in a position where they can see me and pay attention to me, or will I be behind them while they're checking the other two out?
Are you trying to steal from them?
Yeah.
You can make a sleight of hand check, but it would be against all their perceptions, as they're all kind of just this is a tense moment. They're cocky about it because they think that they have the upper hand, but at the same time, they know that you guys are adventurers, so they at least don't think it out of the realm of reason that you guys wouldn't try something. So you can sleight a hand, but it would be against all their perceptions.
Yeah, I can try another.
All right, Duran, they come up to you. All right, look at you, Mr. Man, a big religious type, are you? Did your God help you get that?
He did. And he won't help you get any of it.
Yeah, the one guy is all right, you're a tough guy, I get it. Hand it over.
No. This is for the people. You won't take it. Not from me. I'll turn to the others and say, go.
Sienna will walk over, seeing this, trying to wave her hands, and
you see the one guy lean in and smile too, and he's missing a bunch of teeth, and some of the teeth that he does have his rod, and he says, "All right, you hear that, boys? This guy over here wants to do it the hard way."
She before everybody goes to fight, she calms the boys down, and she looks to Yara and is like, "I'm sorry, my friend, but this is for the best," and she will cast grease on him to knock him down. Cast it on him, forcefully just shove him down so she can take the gut weed away from him.
Dex save, Dren.
Would it be at disadvantage because she's also shoving him?
I'll up to Dren if you want to take the disadvantage.
It won't matter. I got a 3.
Woof! You slip and fall in a puddle of grease. All the men around you. look at that idiot!
And she leans down to Dren. She's like, "I am very sorry about this, but Kellenvor wants you alive, not dead over some plants. There are bigger things about. Trust me, if you want to know, come to me later about it. But the plants aren't worth it." And then she'll take half of what he's holding and hand it to the guys and be like, "Piss off now."
says,
Dran looks defeated.
Dran, you're in the ground. They kind of kick dirt at you, actually. These guys are fucking pricks. I'm sorry. And then he says,
Any of them slip in the grease when they try to do that.
yeah, I'll give it to you. Hold on. Guard, stay right here. What is their dex? What's your DC?
14.
14. Yeah, this guy falls as he tries to kick it. Falls into the thing, and they all start laughing at him. He picks himself up and brushes them off. This isn't the big general. This is like one of the more grizzled, kind of like maybe second in command of this posse. Brushes himself off. Oi! Sees any of you guys? Did any of you crack a smile as he falls down?
No.
Dran's
Sienna's
too
just like,
upset.
What's that?
Sienna. Oh, good.
I was gonna say Dran's too upset. He's not even gonna smile at it.
Yeah, and Sienna's just like too busy, like yanking like one of the I assume like probably like 2 bags. The Dragon's holding and like shoving it into the hands of the nearest,
Yeah.
guard, just saying like, "Piss off now."
I seen Gar shake his head no. Does Akira smile?
I do my best to hold it back, but
All right. He brushes himself off and says, "What are y'all looking at?" None of you do anything, and he says, "Looking at you, Dran." He gave him a hard time. "If I see your face again around here and you try anything funny, you won't be getting up off that ground."
I'm not afraid of death. I worship Kelemvor. May he watch over you. Should death come sooner than later.
Says, "Good. It's best you're not afraid." And then he'll
And
walk away.
guess the last thing, Rig will land on that particular guard's shoulder and go, "Ka! If you started, the princess still have laws for self-defense. Birding's a very bad way to die, I hear." Ka! And he flutters off.
He's going to try to swing at it. "Get the fuck out of here, bird!" And swings at it. Actually rolls only 11, so I imagine that miss.
Yeah.
Looks back at you all like, Paul, he so wants to start shit, but you can see the general himself is like, "All right, man. We got what we came for. These guys did a good job. Leave them alone. Let's get on with it. Good day to y'all. Thanks for helping the fist." And then they turn away and walk with half your gut weed.
Then Sienna will do her best to help Dran back up if she does, just profusely apologizing with saying like, "There are greater things at stake than some plants. The druids will get their fair share, and Kelemvor wouldn't want you dying now. There are better things to die over."
I know. I just...
You need to check that orcish temper. It'll get you in trouble.
Gar looks at the group. They didn't take as much as they thought they did. And then you look at Gar, and he's really just got his quarterstaff, his little loincloth thing on with his belt. He's got one little pouch where he keeps his potions. And then he's got like a little just knapsack. And he shows you, "I've got almost 400 pounds of the stuff in this thing." Swipes it back over his shoulder. Bag is holding.
Nice.
That makes me feel better.
All right. With that, the session ends. Nice job, guys. Anyone want to say anything in closing before I shut her down?
All hail Nene, great goddess of the grungs.
What a romantic wedding that was, guys.
I always cry at weddings.
yeah,
Even though I
I'm
was the
really
priest.
surprised I pulled it off.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I just knew I was gonna roll 1.
No, that was me.
Oh God, I can imagine it now. He rolls the 1 for the convincing talk, like, "Hey, handsome, it's me, Nene."
All right, guys. I had a lot of fun. Good job getting through it. And hopefully we see you in the jungle sometime again soon. Until next time, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Later.
Bye, viewers.